Yeah, we have the green, well, red light. We are live. It's 8 o'clock. It's time for some Sunday night Doctor Who. Chris is here. Ian's not here tonight because he said he had some real life things to do, so he can't join us. Oh God, I've got this bloody echo thing again. There we go. Good way to start. It's nice to start with technical difficulties.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening, Chris. That's the way it works. So yeah, last week I promised Ian that I would share some of his artwork, and we were talking last week, and I totally forgot about showing his artwork. So we're going to do that before we get into doing it. This week we are doing Deep Breath, the episode starring Peter Capaldi and Jenna Coleman as the 12th Doctor. So before we get into talking about the episode, let's just do some of Ian's artwork. Let me just click on this. Click on that. I click on this, and everything goes wild. And yay! There we are. Things start to work. So yeah, this is Ian's artwork. He contributes to the chat for Doctor Who, and he was very generous and sending me some of the artwork that he's done. This is his Arachnids in the UK artwork. He does some good stuff. It's very postery stuff that he does. A good pick of Bradley Walsh's Graham there. It sort of captures everything about sort of Graham as a character there. Is Peter Davison. I can't remember what episode this was supposed to be. For the life of me, I can't remember. I believe it's a Big Finish audio, but again, it's
well, the file name says Sirens, so we'll go with that.
Yeah, I mean that would be right. Yeah, it would help if I looked. Oh dear. Yeah, the Sixth Doctor. Now that's an older picture of, not an older picture, but I mean a later picture of Colin Baker, isn't it? That's him after he played the Doctor. Because I don't think he was, even at the time when he was playing the Doctor, he started putting weight on. I don't think he was kind of that shape. No, he became plump. Cracking one. I absolutely love this one. Which is the broken bit of TARDIS coming out of the crack. We had a lot of fun talking about the crack last week.
A good crack.
Yeah. Beautiful rendering of Judge Death. Nothing Doctor Who related, but I said I would show it. Another one of William Hartnell, the First Doctor and Susan. I think that's not Dalek Invasion of Earth, is it? That's Doctor Who and the Daleks. That's them on Skaro. Love that they brought that set back, by the way, in later seasons. What's this? Carnival of Monsters? Tom Baker. Good stuff. Nice stuff. His artwork, the way he blends these elements together looks absolutely fantastic. I thought that was a Lego Cyberman. It looks like it. From where I'm sitting, see the face of the Cyberman? It looks like it's smiling slightly. But it has got that very sort of blank, sort of Lego man face. And it was like, what? And then I realised what it was then. I can see it. Not bad. This is probably my favourite though. This is the all these are River Song. It's sort of like the entirety of River Song's life. So yeah, that is a very nice piece of artwork. Obviously that's Rosa. Again, these are all sort of very sort of DVD cover or wall poster types of art. And yes, number 6, the Sirens again. I do like those sort of smoky, wispy elements in there as well. But yeah, he does a very good job of blending the artwork. So thank you, Ian. That's great stuff to have. So there you are. I have shared your artwork with the world. But thank you for that. No, I really appreciate that.
No, they're really good. I was being mindful of not talking while I was on because I know me Eddie comes up and blocks everything off. I didn't want to block his artwork off. But yeah, they were super.
Sometimes it does. Yeah, I only when I don't present. So if I decided to present to myself, if I go like this. Oh God, how do I do it? I can present to everyone like this. So now if you talk, they won't see you. So
that's okay. There's not much anyway.
So yeah, I just click on stop presenting now, so they'll go back and forth. So yeah, tonight we're doing deep breath, and I am actually looking forward to this episode because I don't really watch this episode a lot. This is probably, out of all the regeneration episodes, this is probably the one I've watched the least. And not because I would say not because it's bad or anything. It's just that I think I was tainted by the Capaldi run, and because I genuinely, I will say, I'm going to stick by this statement. I love everything from pretty much Heaven Sent on. I think it takes to get to Heaven Sent, which is, and I keep getting them mixed up. I believe Heaven Sent is the right one. That's the one whereby he's inside the dial. What do they call it? The confession dial, isn't it?
It's either Hell Bent or Heaven Sent, one of the two.
I believe it's Heaven Sent. I get the two mixed up. Heaven Sent, Doctor Who. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, it's the one where he's inside the confession dial. Yeah, so he's on that sort of castle-y island, which from what I understand is Caerphilly Castle. They use the same ones over and over. Same places. They do something rather different though with this one, though, with this episode of Doctor Who, because when we get into it, you'll see from pretty much the get-go, they built an enormous set. So I don't know if you want anything else to do, but or anything you'd like to mention there, Chris. But I'm ready to go if you are.
But all I will say is pretty much from the beginning of Matt Smith's era onwards, a lot of these I've only seen the once when they were on.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, really. So I think there was because of the boys working and doing stuff, when the Jodie Whittaker stuff started, I think I've seen The Woman That Fell to Earth and the next couple a few times each. But yeah, pretty much Peter Capaldi's, apart from the Christmas one, the final one with David Bowie in it, I've seen pretty much all of his just the once. So there you go.
Oh, well, I mean, look, here's the thing. From my perspective, I hate saying it. I do hate saying it. But you're not really missing much. That's bad. For a Doctor Who fan to be able to turn around and say that, to say that you're not missing much is because the Doctor Who's always done duff, right? What I don't like is that there are people out there that will talk about the Jodie Whittaker run and go, well, Doctor Who's rubbish now. Jesus Christ, are you serious? Did you see the Green Death? I mean, Doctor Who has done bad long before. We're talking 40-odd years ago. There are bad episodes of Tom Baker. There are bad episodes of Peter Davison. There are bad episodes of Colin Baker. There are bad episodes of Sylvester McCoy. For people to turn around and say, well, Doctor Who's bad now. Look, we went through a golden period with Doctor Who with David Tennant. We were lucky. We were lucky. But Doctor Who's always been on the cusp of doing something genuinely great or genuinely crap. It tries, and sometimes it fails. And unfortunately, with Peter Capaldi, we've talked about this just before we come on air. Pretty much after Deep Breath, the Shirt and Ties, the execs of the BBC were like, you've got to cheer him up a bit. You can't make him dark, because the kiddies won't like it. And They don't know. They don't know what they're talking about. They absolutely don't know what they're talking about. Because kids love being scared. Kids love a good scare. I mean, I don't know about you, Chris, but when I was a kid, I used to watch the Dracula movies and Jaws and all those sorts of things, and I absolutely love them. So
I was told by my mum when I was about 4, so about 1976. Apparently, I was fine with Doctor Who on the family's old black and white telly, and we went round my nan's, and she'd got a colour telly, and I can't remember the name of the episode, but it's the one with the green bubble wrap and Tom Baker. It's the one on the space station. But apparently, I saw that one, and I screamed the place down as a 4-year-old when I saw it in colour. And I've still gone back to Doctor Who. I mean, when I say I've only seen these the once, it's not because I've been avoiding them. I mean, I've probably seen a couple of the last series with Bill in. I've probably seen a few of them a couple of times. It's more of a time thing, but I think this series in particular, I never felt the urge to be drawn back to watch it again like I have some of the others. So we'll see. Yeah. I'll probably really enjoy it.
Well, I mean, again, look, it's bad. It's a bad thing to say, but we were talking about this last week. You've got episodes like Forest of the Dead, Sleep No More. You're not missing anything. Not Forest of the Dead, Forest of the Night. I mean, God, I just mixed up two. I just mixed up a really, really great episode with a really, really shite one. God damn it. Yeah, I mean, Forest of the Night, just absolutely nothing happens in that episode. Right throughout, the Doctor has no impact on the story at all, and then everything is back to normal the next day. The plant grows an entire forest and it all disappears, and that's the story. Everything else is just people walking around inside bushes. And that's pretty much it. Anyway, I think we should. We've been going for nearly quarter of an hour now, nearly. And I think we should. I've got Deep Breath queued up, ready to go. So I think we should start to view Deep Breath. Just yammering away. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, launch. BBC logo. T-Rex. I don't like the fact that they oversized this dinosaur. I really don't like the fact that they did that.
That's a big T-Rex.
I got a feeling it was because they wanted to make it sort of scale with the other. Remember when they done the John Pertwee episode, Doctor Who and the Dinosaurs?
Yep.
I got a feeling it was because of that. That's why they scaled it up a bit to make it sort of like, make that episode. But they could have just made it proper scale, proper size. I also think that they wanted it so that he swallowed the TARDIS, and a normal sized T-Rex couldn't do it.
I've seen fossils. I was there.
Yeah. I do like Madame Bastra. And Catherine Stewart as well. She's absolutely lovely.
How could it time? I don't know. That's something it ain't.
BBC do Victorians so well.
Yeah, well, I mean, the set that they're actually on there is absolutely gigantic. You've got to look at everywhere where they stand in is a set. It's a set built inside a studio.
Dropped a blue fox marked police out of its mouth. Your grasp of biology troubles me.
What that thing goes to the rampage?
Place these lanterns on the shoreline and bridges. Suckling creature.
Yeah. Great makeup on Bastra as well.
It is good.
Yeah. And Niamh McIntosh as well. I don't know. I actually fancy her more as when she's got the makeup on, actually.
That's a whole nother fetish we probably better not go into.
I know.
Back to space. What's the ever jumping to conclusions, Jax?
But that is all. Everything that you can see there, that is not a matte work at all. That is all a set. It's absolutely enormous. And considering that they only use it for really this opening bit, it's incredible. And there's a good throwaway line here by Neve McIntosh as well. Bastra in a bit will say, "Oh, here we go again," which is obviously a handoff line to Nicholas Courtney, which is what he says when 3 becomes 4 in Robot or Spiders, depending on Planet Spiders, depending on which one you watch.
Both.
Well, I'm happier to watch Robot than I am Planet of Spiders. No, not the best departure episode.
Thingy, oh, it's brilliant.
I tell you what I like with, and this is just so good. After we finish watching this, you can actually see the read through that they do when they're all sitting around the table. Just how good Jenna Coleman is just at the read through. She's just reading off the page and she's spot on. Oh, every time she's brilliant. How good does Capaldi look as the Doctor dressed in Matt Smith's outfit, though?
Yeah, looks good.
That coat and everything, it's so... It's like almost like Universal Doctor kind of thing. I think Peter Capaldi as well is the only. He's definitely the only Doctor actor to have appeared in the Doctor Who universe 3 times, because he was Caecilius in Fires of Pompeii. He was the minister in Children of Earth, Torchwood, and obviously the Doctor. So I think other actors have appeared as different characters. Like, Nicholas Briggs does voiceovers and that, but he's the only Doctor actor to have done it 3 times.
What do we do?
Colin Baker has been in it twice, and Karen Gillan's been in it a couple of times. But he's the only Doctor actor to do it 3 times. There it is. I'm not keen. We're going to go into the title sequence here. I'm not really keen. First, I'm not keen on that scream. That's a weak ass scream, and I really don't care for the what do they call it? It's like being played on tubular bells. I don't like that. It's too jingly. Well, I mean, what do you think of this theme tune, Chris?
Yeah, I don't know. It's got the same sort of weak lead to it that the Sylvester McCoy one had. It hasn't got enough punch.
Yeah, that's the kind of what I'm saying. It's a bit jingly, but it's just sort of. I like the sort of what's the term? What's the instrument? It's almost like sort of I'm not harpsichord, but the actual the lead tune is good. Is strong enough. But it's like everything else is just weak. It's just underpunched.
So you've got a whole room for not being awakened. But what's the point? You're just missing the room. I don't look in that mirror. It's absolutely furious.
Doctor, please! You have to lie down. You keep passing out.
Well, of course I keep passing out. There's all these beds. Why do you keep talking like that? What's gone wrong with your accent? Why do you...
Nothing's wrong with our accent.
You sound the same. It's spreading.
Yeah,
You sound all English. No, you've all developed a fault.
Doctor, I need your help. Something.
Likely. It's not a good talk problem.
That's Neve using her own Paisley accent.
Oh, I never bought the sick. I used to stand in cat naps.
Oh, really? How interesting. And when do you do it?
Well, generally,
Let's have a quick.
I skip ahead to my bit.
See, Doctor, project an image of...
I like what Peter Capaldi's doing here. I do feel like they do the handle, because I really like what I liked with Matt Smith with 11th Hour was the fact that Matt Smith was really sort of shotgun off and running, whereas this one's a bit more back to the handled version of the Doctor's regeneration. So look here.
Fish fingers and custard. That's obviously the answer.
Yeah. This is the longest normal episode of Doctor Who. And the first appearance of Missy. We'll get around to that later. So, yeah. No shots of the TARDIS interior are shown before the reveal of its redesign due to the permanent remodeling of certain parts of the control room for the 12th Doctor, which would make the replication of the pre-decorated console highly tasking. In other words, they redecorated the TARDIS and didn't want to show anybody until afterwards. And they did a good job of the redecoration as well. This is probably my second favourite console room. I mean, like, the original one is a cracker. It's very nice, though. The Capaldi one is... And then to fall down to us with a bump with the Whittaker one is... Oh.
Yeah, I really like this one as well. It's it kind of fits in with where we went with Capaldi, like the professor in the university, and it's got that look, a library look to it.
Yeah, but the other thing was that it didn't take away from... The library was a secondary thing. They made it look like a control room first. And that's what works with it. Whereas the Whittaker console room hit every tree, every ugly branch on the tree all the way down.
Well, it looks like someone smashed up a bag of honeycomb and just chucked it at a wall with super glue on.
I don't like talking about it. It upsets me. Good set as well. It's very... You can be forgiven for not thinking it's a set. It's really well lit. It looks really warm, really comfortable. I could sleep in a room like that. And you've got this. I mean, this is. I don't know if this one was filmed before the others. I got a feeling that this was definitely the first script out, because this one came out. This was, I think, the first episode for Doctor Who since Leisure Hive to be given its season premiere in August. So yeah, BBC give this episode a 7 countries world tour. It's not really a world tour if you only went to 7 countries, is it? Good God, I can go to 4 countries and still be in the UK. Love Strax. I'm amazed that they didn't do a spin-off. Absolutely amazed. It's right there from them. They could have done this, the whole sort of Sherlock Holmes thing with Vastra, Strax and Jenny, and it would have been hilarious. It would have been brilliant.
Yeah, if they'd have done it as a kind of like they've done Woody Orville with a comedic...
Just a Scooby-Doo, just a Doctor Who universe Scooby-Doo run-around detective show. I mean... It just boggles the mind. The 3 of the most popular characters in recent Doctor Who. I think they're only topped by River Song.
That's what's wrong with it. I look realistic. Good eyes. I'm doing it. Very good eyes.
I'm right.
I accept.
I did not like these villains. I didn't like the villains at all because I felt that it was a wasted opportunity because they could have been the droids from the Madame de Pompadour back again from Girl in the Fireplace, and instead they went with, oh no, it's a sister ship. It's just like, why? Just make them the same ones.
Good makeup though. Gotta give him that.
Oh yeah, you know the makeup's cracking. Oh look, the production value of this show is amazing.
I'm accustomed to seeing through. How have I abused you?
The lighting is incredible.
He looked young.
That's what, yeah.
He looked like your dashing young gentleman. Nothing. Sure. But he's the doctor. He has walked in the first centuries untold. He has seen stars fall to dust. You might as well flirt with a mountain range. I did not flirt with him. He flirted with you. How? Even John. Who do you
So like, yeah. Oh, okay. Right, fair enough.
Everyone.
Missy's look was based after Mary Poppins. Really, you couldn't tell.
Same reason.
I've never noticed.
Yeah. It's a good little scene between Vastra and Clara there. But again, it comes down. It's all exposition and it's all back and forth conversation, and they hold it between the two of them. They just hold the scene themselves. It's really good stuff. How do I get back here?
Jenny, I am married. Yet for appearance's sake, we maintain a pretense in public that she is my
But all the sets are good. All the set dressing. They do a fantastic job.
Yeah, I mean, there was no expense spared for this as a.
No, it was really beautifully put together. Sorry, Chris, I cut you off there.
Yeah, that's all right, mate.
No, I mean, like you said, you haven't seen this for a while, so you know. Well, what do you think now you've seen it again?
I don't remember it being this sort of lavish in the set design and that.
Yeah. Well, again, the lighting is kick-ass. The lighting is absolutely staggering. And that comes down to, I'm trying to find out who actually. Yeah. It's not gonna say who lit it, unfortunately. It might do. I don't know. But I don't think so. Cinematography by G. Magni Angustonson.
And the only pin-up I ever had on my wall when I was 15, the only one I ever had. I'm not sure if you think you're talking to Madam Ambassador, but I have never had the slightest interest in pretty young men. And for the record, if there was anybody who could flirt with the mountain range, she's probably standing in front of you right now.
Yeah.
Just because my pretty face has turned your head, do not assume that I am so easily distracted.
So also shot into the Dalek. Spy.
Goodness me. The Lakers
TV show series.
Doctor needs us, you more than anyone. He's lost in the
I mean, it looks like there's a lot of foreign film stuff and a lot of foreign TV shows. With a name like that, though, I can see that. But I mean,
even though the poor woman's covered in latex and gloop, I'm surprised they didn't do anything with her eyes, though. Or is there a reason for that?
She got stunning eyes.
Well, yeah, I suppose there is that.
why would you? You know, she's got beautiful eyes, so you don't do anything to that. I mean, I think they tried to humanize. They humanized all of the Silurians as well when they done the when she played it for the first time in Hungry Earth. But I mean, if you look at even the smallest part of her makeup, there's a lot of airbrushing and painting and layering of colours going on, just in one sort of scale.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to relieve you of your pet. You're what? Shut up, I was talking to the horse.
Well, it certainly takes time to put all that makeup on. I mean, I've painted 28mm orcs before in green, and
yeah,
that takes long enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, you know, the cowl and everything is pre-painted the day before, but the actual face itself has to be. I mean, they can paint the majority of the application, but when they start blending the edges, then that has to be done on the day. And I mean, again, it's a staggering amount of work on the locations and everything, because you know they just fogged an entire street just for one shot. You know, it's crazy. So look here, I'm looking for. I mean, the art department on this was massive. There's at least 40 people working on this. Same with the special effects. If you compare Series 1 to Series 8, the department, I mean, I'll just show you here. So that's the list of special effects departments.
Well, just one or two then.
Yeah, I mean, like that's, you know what I mean? But if you were to look at sort of Series 1, you wouldn't, and it's the same with the art department. You know, if I go like that, that's the art department. You know, that's everybody. So, I mean, the amount of people, visual effects.
No, shut up. You don't have the brains.
It's just. Oh, wait a sec. Have I got it? It's okay. Best boy, camera operator, focus puller. It was lit by John Robinson. Cracking job.
Well, kudos to him, because he's done a fantastic job.
It is. I mean, like, you've got to remember, like, he's standing on a set for there now, and the making it look like there's a burning dinosaur underneath it. So he's got a red hook hitting him from one angle, he's got an amber hitting him from the other, and he's still producing dramatic shadow, and it's very, very nice. And this is being color graded as well, obviously tweaked afterwards, but staggering job.
That shot there, that last shot of Peter Capaldi, was very, very Fires of Pompeii. I wonder if they've done that on purpose.
Oh, I mean, look, there's very they do make reference to that later on, but I mean, should we talk about that? Should we talk about that afterwards, or do you want to talk about it now? The fact that they...
No, we can talk about it afterwards.
Yeah, let's leave it till afterwards. Up until sort of this series, Clara was kind of on point for being probably the best companion.
Always come looking for his box. When I bring you here, you'll be here in the dangers of London to this place of safety. Will melty acid. Not melty acid. Don't have it.
It was about time they made a character like that a comic relief.
He's just Strax is big. The thing is, though, it's the dynamic between the three. You have to have Strax I mean, yeah, Jenny lacks any sort of embarrassment. She's very open, but she's also, very dynamic. She's action ready. Like, she's like a member of the Charlie's Angels. Like, Vastra is very sort of Sherlock. And then you got Strax, then, who is just sort of Bud Abbott. It's the best way to put it. But because they play so straight, it makes it work for Strax.
It is, because I mean they've spent so long throughout the history of Doctor Who where the Sontarans have pretty much been ridiculous. To actually have someone like him playing up to it is it's a breath of fresh air, I suppose, to coin a phrase.
It's again, if you watch like Time Warrior, the Sontaran in that is doing exactly what he's doing, but he means it. And the thing with Strax is that Strax means it. It's hard to take him seriously.
At least you don't start saying Sontar over and over again.
Yeah. Good little prop as well.
You didn't move your lips. Yes, there we are. Easy mistake. Now that's interesting.
What? What's interesting?
Collective narcissism, traces of passive aggressive, and a lot of.
Look how good that makeup is. Look how close they got this camera to that makeup. And you can see his freckles. I mean,
Well, stop looking.
Moving on to the thorax, such as it is. Excellent. Enviable spleen. Well done. He's 7. With a projected lifespan of exactly. Stop. Well, you're going to do quite well. But watch out for fluid retention later. It's spectacular.
I love it.
How are you doing this?
We are to serve together.
Great little prop, because it doesn't look like anything that's too overly technical.
Is to be hoped.
I'm just going to abandon you.
You must stop worrying about it, my boy. By now, he's almost certainly engrossed by the violent poor.
Always makes me laugh when he refers to her as my boy.
This is as well, Peter Capaldi's Doctor is the only Doctor aside from, what was it? Like, I think he's the only Doctor aside from Christopher Eccleston. No, he's the only Doctor after Patrick Troughton. We don't see pick an outfit after his regeneration. Like, Christopher Eccleston had already regenerated. Whereas this is a regeneration episode and we don't see this Doctor pick his own outfit.
Close. Close.
I hate that line.
I've seen this face before. Sure.
I don't like the fact that they reference the Tom Baker scarf. I would have preferred it if they'd chosen something else.
It has been a while since he's had a scarf.
Well, I mean, Sylvester McCoy had a scarf. I prefer Sylvester McCoy's second outfit though, as opposed to the first one.
Look in the mirror. Oh, yes. My face is very hard. My tears.
I don't know. I see, because obviously, like the Sixth Doctor chose Maxill's face as well. So
not just being rhetorical here. You can join in. Oh no, your face. None of it either. It's all right up to the eyebrows. That just goes haywire. Look at the eyebrows. They're attack eyebrows. You take bottom tops off the knees.
yeah, mighty eyebrows.
Cross for the rest of my face. An independently cross. They probably want to cheat from the rest of my face and take up their own independent state of eyebrows.
No, I don't think it's really clear as to whether or not. I mean, it has been a while since I watched this episode, but it's not really clear whether or not he accosts this guy and steals his coat. I don't know.
Scottish. Yeah. Scottish. Think about things. I can really complain about this now. Your coat. I'm cold. I'm cold. There's no point in us both being cold. Give me a coat. Give me a coat.
See, there's this bit here. I don't know whether or not.
It was here. It was. We saw. What I see.
Matt Smith.
This is what I saw.
Lots of little things from previous Doctors peppered in. But the actual scene overall, I'm not really keen on it.
It's not like love at first sight. It's the theory that human beings can have little or no inducement simply flirt. You don't need to flirt with me. We're already married.
Captain Stewart looking absolutely magnificent there.
Hush. There have been 9 reported incidents of people apparently exploding last month. You think they weren't spontaneous? I think whoever killed the dinosaur had at least 9 previous victims. I thought you were painting me. I was working. Well, I'm posing then. You brighten them tremendously. Chin up a little.
Oh yes.
I don't understand why I'm doing this. Art. Now, why destroy victims so completely?
She is a lovely person as well. I mean, you chat with her from time to time on Twitter. She's a very, very charming individual.
Laura, excellent. Put your clothes on that jelly. Look. Advertisements, yes. So many. It's a distressing modern trend. Oh, look.
Yes, wait till you don't have ad blocker.
What? Game was hot. Until it got of tea.
See, very Sherlock. I mean, it probably doesn't help that the guy who's writing this was writing Sherlock at the time as well, but.
We can't know it's from the Doctor. Of course, it's from the Doctor, the impossible girl. That's what he calls me. He says lunch, but not when or where. On the other side.
But again, Jenny's outfit there is very doctorish as well. That would make a doctor outfit, wouldn't it?
Perhaps. Most true. Still don't think what that must mean for a man who barely knows himself. Makes sense. He doesn't do puzzles. He isn't complicated. He doesn't have the attention span. So.
I could never do that. If I couldn't have done that if I took the entire paper. I don't like the way she solved that. That was a bit. Remember the Adam West Batman where how they would figure out the Riddler's riddles, and it would be something ridiculous. Like you'd have to have read the script to have been able to figure that out. That's what that was. That wasn't a puzzle you could have figured out yourself. You see, he's got that coat now, and well, not just the coat, but the clothes as well.
No. Where did you get that coat? From where?
Sure.
No. You don't have any money.
I had a watch.
No, that watch was beautiful.
My favourite.
You swapped your favourite watch for that coat. That's maybe not a good deal.
No, I was in a hurry.
I see that now. There's a bit of ambiguity about that.
No, don't smile. I will smile first, and then you know it's safe to smile.
Are you cross with me?
I am not cross. But if I was cross, it would be your fault. And yes, I am cross.
I guess.
I am extremely
And if
cross.
I hadn't changed my face, would you be?
I would be cross if I wasn't cross.
Why?
I like the fact that he does refer to it as just changing his face, because at a root level, he's still the Doctor. It's still the same person.
Touch. Suggest much.
He's going to have personality quirks.
No, in a newspaper.
Well, I would say.
Oh, go on, do say.
Well, I would say that person would be an in player. So.
Thank you. Well, at least that hasn't changed. No, I suppose it really is.
I do like this scene though. This whole bit where they think they refer to each other.
No bother. So you have figured it out. Happy to play your game.
No, I didn't place it. You place it.
What didn't?
Yes, you place it. I figured it out. Impossible girl. See, lunch.
No, look, the impossible, that is a message from the impossible.
Oh, the impossible girl.
Mother must place that. Place.
Egomaniac needy game player. Yes, I am like that.
Now, what is happening right now in this restaurant to you, and it's more important your egomania.
You think it's more important than my egomania?
Right, you actually said that.
You'll never mention that again.
It's a vanity trap.
It's so good. The play between these two is so good. But Jenna Coleman is on fire.
What, do you have a problem with the grey ones?
I'm not doing her. It was great. I would have a problem.
Yeah, I bet.
Eating.
Too short.
How?
Sorry, there's only one out of place. Surely you want to kill me.
Ooh. Can you tell me something?
I'm trying to finish the headstones.
Right.
It's very sharp, the dialogue in this.
Extremely wrong.
Basically, don't you?
Don't you
Send it to look.
I do think that some of these scenes take their time a little too much. Even when you got something as sharp as that. Does make me question if they're not actually eating the food, then why actually bother putting the food on the plates? I don't think that will work. I think if you just took somebody's head, just dropped it, even if people weren't breathing, they're still moving. So they're still pushing air around.
It's just an attempt to give it an air of spookiness, isn't it?
It is, but I mean, again, these are small little things that are sort of little oversights. Whereas they don't need to do it. There's this whole bit where you've got this sort of zombie. I mean, these are all clockwork people now, aren't they? They are technically androids. Again, fantastic looking sets. It's thoroughly well done. Even things like the filigree on the lit panel by the side of them. Is that a set or is that an actual location? I'm gonna have to check on that because it looks so good. I couldn't put it push it either way.
Does look like a location.
It is, but again, I can't. Given how well they done the set for Vastra's house and the massive set that they did for the Thames and the down by the river as well, I can't really say either way.
Yes, we have a children's menu.
I did like.
I'm expecting them.
Off. Pardon?
I'm expecting them to land in Thunderbird 2 now.
Yeah. Yeah, I did like the fact that when he took his face off, there was no mechanism behind the thing to control the. I think it would have looked a bit more freaky if there had been like, you know, when you see a puppet with the face taken off.
Yeah.
And you can see all the mechanism, and it looks a bit. I think that would have worked better.
Well, just that cage with a candle behind it was really kind of freaky.
Yeah. But there's nothing to pull the muscles. So I'll have to see if I can get any.
Okay.
You ready?
Um.
Don't let it roll away. Go one shot at this.
Next time, make one that doesn't roll.
I want a new page. I bet this took a while to do.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I think that's why they cut away.
Should make that thing voice activated. For God's sake, it is, isn't it?
Let me just go back. Yeah, at this point, I wouldn't put anything past this sonic screwdriver doing anything.
These guys that killed the dinosaur.
It's a harvesting moment. The dinosaur has some great stuff.
Well, it got worse with the sunglasses, let's be honest.
Oh, God. Let's not go into that. We're going to have to address that when we talk about this afterwards, as it is Capaldi's run.
Captain, my captain. Can you see this? Okay.
Yeah, that's actually an animatronic there.
How about that? Cost a few bob as well.
It took 7 months, I believe, to make.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. It had a fiberglass, all fiberglass body. There's a hole there where they could actually puppeteer from underneath, like, so they had all the wires and everything run down and then come out the back or out the front, depending on how they were going to shoot it. But yeah, it took about 7 months to make. They finally finished it about a week before they were about to start shooting.
See this? This is the sidewalk. This is my man trying to robot. This is a robot done himself. But man, peaceful. That's what the rest of it. The constant supply of spare parts. Tan skin. Organs and bones of the metal explorer. I'll always be around. But the results even left. The eyeballs are very
Yeah, this is why I think it is a missed opportunity, because it could have been a reuse of the Clockwork Man from the Girl in the Fireplace, the Madame de Pompadour characters.
It was written by the same bloke, I believe.
I mean, I get it, you know, but surely it makes sense that that ship, given what had already happened on board that ship, he's even referencing it.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I mean, it would have made a lot of sense to use that. I mean, as good as it is, it's like a Victorian Terminator. It's the T-100.
Yeah, I mean, it does such a good job. And with the, I mean, I like how big his right hand is. Look how massive. But yeah, I mean, it does such a good job of referencing and to have the same and all the makeup and everything, and to set it in this time. Because if you remember, in Girl in the Fireplace, there were Clockwork Men trapped in the past. They even said there was. I know they said that they were shut down, but I mean, how difficult is it for one to act it? Because they, if you remember, when David Tennant poured that solvent into them, they were shut down for a while, but then they overcame it and turned themselves back on. So let's have a look here. I'm still trying to find the locations. It is loading. Eventually.
Something else. Don't hold your breath.
She does look like she's getting ready to black out, mate.
Yeah.
Now, on his face there, he's actually wearing a silicone prosthetic on the left-hand side, which does actually have bars on it, but the bars are only there as symbolic for them to be able to digitally map in the scan that they made of the practical model. So, yeah. Let's have a look here.
It's very well done.
Oh, it's incredibly well done. That digital tracking is I mean, you've got to track through sort of like 6 points to get it square, but 9 points to be accurate. So they must have been tracking everything. They weren't using any off-the-shelf stuff for that. So yeah, BBC Studios Rothlock. This is where the production began in October 2013. So yeah. Merthyr Mawr House. Oh, that's the exterior. That's where. God, Merthyr Mawr. There's nothing in Merthyr Mawr. The hell went there? It's like 6 streets. Tiny little place. Lovely little place, but tiny. Unless, of course, Merthyr Mawr House isn't actually in Merthyr Mawr. It's entirely possible. Park Lane, yes. Yeah, I've had situations like that where I've been holding my breath. Not quite enough to have flashbacks. Yeah.
Where is the other one?
So, what is Parkwood? I've got a lot of the locations loaded here. Keeps bloody.
You will tell us.
I like the way he talks.
Or you will be destroyed.
Because it's like he's trying not to move his lips.
You will tell us.
He's being very sort of loose in the mouth.
You will die.
Go on, then. Do it.
And she was a wasted character as well. We can talk about that a bit later as well.
Indeed.
I'm not going to answer any of your questions. So you have to kill me. Threats don't work unless you deliver.
Mount Square North, Park Hotel. Park Hotel is probably the only one I could think of that would resemble that restaurant.
If you don't,
But again, after seeing some of the sets that they've already built, it wouldn't put past me that it was a set.
I'll tell you any of the
I mean, they built all the rooftops and everything. Not a massive amount of rooftops, but they're still, we're still talking, 60 foot by 30.
Well, as it panned out, they probably spent all the budget on this and took it out of the script writing for the rest of the series.
Well, I mean, normally when they line budget for the series. So if they get a budget of 16 million, then that 16 million is spread across the entire show. But it does work out because you get things like the set cost for the TARDIS. So if you say the set for the TARDIS cost 2 million, then you would spread that cost out over 13 episodes, and then you'd say, well, that's 180,000 per episode. That's why they did double bank episodes, so that some episodes have less effects and that in, and some have more, so they're able to shift the budget from one to the other, but still pans out as the same cost for both episodes.
Will not negotiate.
You don't have a choice. I'll answer your questions and you answer mine.
We will not answer.
She's doing such a good job.
Why'd you kill the dinosaur?
We will not answer.
Why'd you kill the dinosaur?
We will not answer questions.
You might as well kill me because I'm not doing anything either.
You've got to remember that there's probably 23, 24 people standing around over there, pointing lights at her cameras. I mean, she is just staggeringly good.
You burned a whole dinosaur for a spare part. to know dinosaurs not too low, which means you've seen them before.
Where is the other one?
You think you're rebuilding yourselves? The state of you is really good.
Yeah.
What's the
Animatronic.
We will reach the promised land.
What kind of promised land was that?
Where is the other one?
I don't know. But I know where he will be. Where he will always be.
I mean, everything about this episode, the quality of the production on this episode, where by comparison to previous Doctor Who's, it just steps right up.
I'm right, aren't I? He's quite saying, right?
Now then, if you watch that carefully and play it back, you'll see that the face he actually rips off is Matt Smith's.
Is he really? I never noticed.
Yeah, he's wearing a Matt Smith mask.
One thing that I don't like. That includes karaoke in mind, so take no chances. See, Clara? That's how you disguise yourself as a droid.
Yeah, well, I've had a lot of time. I've been suddenly abandoned.
Yeah, that's the story. No, actually, I'm not. You're brilliant, Bill. And you're a yes, sir. Never try and control the control freak.
Yeah, I'm not a control freak.
Yes, ma'am. Why did you like this? Message. That was you, wasn't it?
No.
I hate being on the public. Everybody forget that happened. Clara, say the words.
So yeah, it looks like the first. Wow. Oh yeah, of course it would be. Yeah, this is October 2013. Well, of course it would be, because that's the Regeneration episode.
Remain still as I know your weapons in the name of the British Empire.
Here comes Strax. I love it. Come on, where are these three? Just. I mean, I'm willing to bet that the actors are probably busy doing other stuff as well. But I'd love a mini-series, 6 episodes a series. Make the audience beg for more.
Unfortunately, them characters are going to be pretty much forgotten now by, other than people like us.
Yeah, the fans aren't going to forget them.
No, not the fans.
I mean, in terms of storytelling, but they welcome back anytime. Chibnall's not going to bring him back. He's not that sort of, I don't think he's that sort of writer. Cardiff Bay Rippling Water Insert. That was done on the 6th of January. The effect, Cardiff Bay, Cardiff Bay, Cardiff Bay. Underground chamber. This is this. 22nd of January. This is all studio. I mean, everything I'm seeing. Rooftop, green screen.
Is your intent to stop us? Perhaps we should get back to business.
Oh.
Dear Lord, what has she landed us with this time? Restaurant is closed.
Run away!
Yes. Guys, a flame for a hand. And a hand for a brooch.
What are you doing? Oh, really, I'm going to get it. Maybe you should think first. I would.
Good little Doctor Who setup. And again, this is playing back to older Doctors. It's something that you would have seen from, you know, Hartnell or Pertwee.
Century, right? Time traveling spaceship crashed in the past.
You know, if there had been Sylvester McCoy, it might have been T or something like that, but
Might go to the promised land, so you keep saying. Okay, so your restaurant made out of your old ship. You're wasting your time. Can't even fly. The escape pod will fly. Top man took a spaceship with human remains. It's really easy.
see, they keep referencing Girl in the Fireplace.
That's clever. Are you part?
Farts.
We need more men. What's happening?
It's very sort of Terror Hawks, the way that takes off through the roof of the house. I would just had it just sort of bust the roof, as opposed to having the roof unfold. Yeah, the glee on Strax. Just firing away in the background.
SS my Antoinette. Out of control repair droids, cannibalizing human beings.
I mean,
I know this is familiar, but I'm just discussing places. How would you kill me? Sister ship of the Madame.
why? Just make it the SS Madame de Pompadour.
How would you kill me? I have a drink.
The ship crashed after they left.
I am not human.
What is so wrong with making a sequel story?
It kind of is, and it isn't. It's.
Why?
I don't know why.
I mean, it's the sister ship to this ship that we've seen, and from one of the best stories of the David Tennant's run. Why not have the same droids? Like I said, after he left, because if you remember, at the end of that episode, the Doctor never figures out why they were after the Madame de Pompadour. So when he reads the sister ship of the SS Madame de Pompadour, he shouldn't even know that, because he never knew what the name of the ship was. It was one of those things that he never ever knew. The TARDIS disappeared, and then we had the reveal of what the ship was called.
Everything's so terrible. Moment in your life clung to.
Well, it's not like he's ever been known for its great amount of continuity. Let's be honest.
No, I know that, but it's annoying that they come so close, and then just for no reason that I can think of, just change it.
I will reach the promised land. There isn't any promised land. It's a superstition. You've picked up all the humanity you've stuck inside yourself. I am not dead. You are.
I tell you what would have worked for me as well is if these had been the service droids from the ship from City of Death, because they were at the start of time, from the creation of the Earth, the dinosaurs. I can't remember the Jaguaroth.
There's no trace of it. Left. Probably can't even remember where you got that face from.
Yeah, probably standing in his own face.
It cannot end. It has to. You know it does. There's only one way out of it. Self-destruction is against my basic program. Murder is against mine.
I don't know, they never actually do say whether or not the doctor pushes him out or whether or not he jumps. But given the doctor's ability to talk people into suicide, he talked a Dalek to death once. I'm willing to bet that the guy jumped. That woman there on the left was in here a few times as an extra. She's a regular. So apparently this bit here was cut out for different countries because they didn't want to have two people of the same sex kissing, even though she explains that she's passing her oxygen. I mean, how else was she going to get oxygen into her lungs? Cracking shot going past the clock. Just seeing the hat fall away. Wow, 4-4 brick. Oh. It's like something from a trailer. Don't like it. Cracking costumes. Again, we talk about the set and everything, but I mean, like the costumes that they got on. Just absolutely amazing.
Please come in. I'm not interrupting. I should be glad for your company. What can I do for you? Oh, well, that's exactly what I was.
And again, we're looking at Vastra, but there now. This is probably one of the 6th costume change she's had in this episode.
You would be very welcome to join a household.
And they've all looked brilliant.
Yeah, it's.
Highest. Doctors will be returning for you very soon. Whose authority? The person who knows the best. Who's that? Clara Oswald.
Yeah, I just almost like in this shot there, you can actually see the very slightest join between the face and the cowl. It's really so well done. I mean, I would assume that she's had that on for quite a bit of time as well. So that's probably had a bit of shifting going on. But the colour match is so good. And here we go, the first time we see the 12th Doctor's interior TARDIS. Instantly with the warm gels.
I'm entirely convinced myself there's more road things, so I just have a lot of things I want to wear.
Another little throwaway line there.
Yeah. Which he does actually get. He does actually get these the round discs into the hexagons. I think they actually said that just because they were actually going to add them. But yeah, I mean, such a beautiful interior. Again, they started off with the console room being the flight deck of a spaceship at first, and then made it a lived-in space secondary. Yeah, one hell of a callback. Everybody had forgotten about. I mean, what is that? Bells of St. John, isn't it? That's the episode that they first meet. This incarnation of Clara meets the Doctor.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I don't think I know who you are anymore.
I mean, it's what Dalek Asylum, then the Snowman or Snowmen, and then yeah, Bells of St. John. They actually, so they filmed this on Queen Street in Cardiff, which is supposed to be Dublin for Glasgow, and they had to digitally remove the ring because it's with Cardiff.
What do you mean, the Doctor?
I'm phoning you from Trent.
Matt Smith and his god awful wig.
Oh.
Feel it.
Why? Why did you do this?
Because I think it's gonna be a one.
Oh yes.
And I think you might be scared. And however scared you are.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realise that they changed the colour of the tubes inside the Time Lorder. They went from a green and a blue to a orange. They made it a much warmer environment.
So who is it? That's the Doctor. That's the Doctor. That's the Doctor.
Yes.
He sounds old. Please tell me I didn't get old, anything but old. I was young. Oh. Great.
Yes.
Come, please. Wait for me.
I see. I don't know about this scene either.
And don't be afraid.
Why? I'm not sure if you were going to hand off to another Doctor, why you would want to go back. I get the implication that this Doctor's trying to tell her like it's the same person, but really, you know, he's not the leading man anymore. Capaldi's the leading man. So it's like when they done Class. You know, why would you have the Doctor show up at the end of Class when you're trying to sell that show?
That's your question. Will you help me?
You should have been listening.
I wasn't. I didn't need to. That's me talking. Can't see me, can you? You look at me and can't see me.
This is the problem with Jodie Whittaker. It is the big problem, is that the fans still think that Jodie Whittaker's the first female Doctor, not the Doctor.
Yeah, she's the first female actress. She's not the first female Doctor.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a massive problem. Fans just can't get over it. They don't understand that it's the same person.
Yeah, I've got no problem with the actress or anything like that. Initially I was a bit like, yeah, because I'm not over keen on when they race change and sex change characters, but she flung herself into the part. It's just unfortunate that the scripts didn't match her.
It doesn't really. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because it doesn't change. It's not going to change the writing. The fact that you make the character a woman doesn't change the writing unless you are dealing with that story specifically. You write the Doctor as the Doctor. You don't write, and now I'm writing female Doctor, or now I'm writing old Doctor. Like with Capaldi here, I'm writing an older. No, the guy who's writing this was the same guy who was writing Matt Smith, and he didn't know when he was writing this how Capaldi was going to play it. He wrote this the same way you wrote a Matt Smith episode.
I don't have any money.
Imagine that.
I'm not sure that I'm a French sort.
Yeah. They'll not show you get married.
And if they turn that camera around 180 degrees, you wouldn't be able to see the bottom end of Queen Street for all the people standing there. And now they're on location in oh God, what's the name of the place?
You made it. I hope my boyfriend wasn't too mean to you.
Dufferin Gardens.
Boyfriend?
Did he push you out of that thing? Or did you fall? Couldn't really tell. You can be very mean sometimes. Except to me, because he loves me so much. I do like his new accent, though. I think I might keep it.
Where am I?
Where do you think you are? I found you. You made it.
Cardiff, that's where it was.
Promised land. Welcome to heaven.
So that is actually the sort of the same location where they shot one of the scenes from. Remember the one where I think the episode where Amy meets her older self, or her older self gets left behind. Well, that's
all right.
Deep breath. Yeah, so that's the same. That's the same location where that was taking place. What the hell's the name of that episode? Oh God, it's not Amy's Choice, is it? It's oh, you know what I'm on about, the one where she becomes that sort of middle-aged woman, ninja warrior type thing. Where they walk into that white room and there's all those different portals everywhere. Ian has just joined us. Hello. Greetings. Just so you know, Ian, I showed your artwork earlier on. As I said I would. I shared it. I totally forgot to do it last week, but I did it this week. So, yes, greetings. Yeah, we just finished Deep Breath. So, yeah, I mean, that end shot there with Missy, my thought, I mentioned this last week, but my thought on that character when I saw that was, oh, they're doing a manifestation of death. And I was kind of disappointed that Missy turned out to be the Master. Oh, the girl who waited. Thank you. Yeah, so I was kind of disappointed that it turned out to be the Master because I had thought, you know, death, a manifestation of death that cavorts with the Doctor, because she even refers to him as her boyfriend. And when that droid landed on the thing and died, she refers to him being in heaven, and it's just like, this is a good idea. They're going a bit more meta with Doctor Who, because they've always had dark magic and hell and heaven and gods and all that sort of thing in Doctor Who and the Guardians and all this stuff. But gods like Sutek and all that. So why not have a character that is Death that would consider the Doctor the boyfriend, because the Doctor, wherever the Doctor goes, Death follows. And then, of course, it turned out to be the Master, and it was kind of like, I mean, it was good, but it was still a bit, well, that was a shame.
Well, my initial thought was that it was the Rani. So,
yeah. Well, no, I can see that there's definitely that in it. But I mean, what are your thoughts now that you know what you know? What's your thoughts on sort of what they did with the character? I mean, I love the character of Missy. I totally love the character of Missy. I think she's a great actress.
Well, I wasn't over keen on the way they did it.
Mm-hmm.
I have an issue with. I mean, Michelle Gomez was fantastic. She was totally batshit mental and perfect for the Master. But it's the way they did it. I don't. Looking back, it weren't like they dropped a load of clues other than using the name Missy, short for mistress, opposite of Master, sort of thing. But
yeah,
I think I preferred it when in the last or the penultimate Capaldi episode where she was playing opposite John Sim. Mm-hmm. I thought she was great in that, and she really sold it. But I was like, okay, but then. It hadn't been, other than a kind of thought and a couple of offhand comments on things, it never really had Doctor or Time Lords kind of changing sex within their regenerations. No one has said it as impossible, but no one had ever done it. So for me, it wasn't an obvious thing. But, it was clever the way they did it, but I was kind of like you, I was disappointed. I was expecting something else.
There was, I mean, this one again. In the Virgin New Adventures, the Doctor was Time's champion and agent for the old gods of Gallifrey, and the Master was Death's champion. I mean, there's something with that though, whereby Missy, particularly with the way that they were doing it, and every character that kept dying kept showing up later on with Missy. Throughout this run, and it was a case of, but they were appearing from different time periods, so there were only people that were dying where the Doctor was. So clearly, it was sort of following the Doctor around. So to me, it was just like, oh, this is Death. This is who this character is, and I thought this was a really good idea. And of course, we got into the series and. I mean, we've talked about it before. We know where this goes, and we know where this ends up. This storyline.
The thing is, having watched the regeneration of the first Capaldi episode again, it promised so much. It's a good episode.
The thing is with Deep Breath is that it's. Again, there's parts you could chop down. There's parts you can definitely cut down. Like you don't really like the whole alleyway bit whereby he's talking to the guy about his face. That can be chopped down into a much smaller segment. It drags on a little too long. It was an hour and 17 minutes. You could chop bits out here or there. But overall, the story itself, it does a pretty solid job. It's not really a great regeneration episode in the same way that 11th Hour is. And I don't think it's a great regeneration episode in the same way that the 8th Doctor is either. Because I don't think it gives you that much information. It's as a jumping on point. Because you've kind of got to know who Vastra is. You've got to know who Jenny is and Strax. Clara. You've got to have the sort of the background to the Doctor there. But this is sort of it's assuming that it's inheriting its audience and not sort of doing a clean slate. Which is, is perfectly sound reasoning given, the people that are making it. But as an episode of Doctor Who, again, we talked about the fact that I think it was a missed opportunity to redo or do a continuation of Girl in the Fireplace. What was I here? How was she getting the souls that were not on Earth from inside Dalek in the future? Again, that's what I mean. It seemed that this character of Missy was following the Doctor around. And in terms of how Death would do it, well, death is death. I mean, that's how Death would do it, but how Missy does it? A Doctor Who plot hole. Not a clue. If you had made the character Death, I think it would have worked a whole lot better, and it would have been where would that have ended up? You know, what would have? You know, it might have gone a little bit Douglas Adams, maybe, but it would have still, you know, we sort of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy kind of vibe, but I think it would have still worked, because why wouldn't you bring these things in as characters? You know, I mean, particularly when if you look at older episodes like Ghostlight, you know, Ghostlight does, and it tries to do an interesting play on. I mean, Ghostlight is confusing as shit, and that's an episode we've definitely got to watch at some point. But if you start breaking down the relationships in that episode, it's kind of, you know, these are alien things that are these sort of, you know, control light and all that. They're very much these sort of bigger creatures that have been reduced into these forms, you know, where light can't deal with things evolving. Confusing as shit again, but it is an episode that we are going to have to cover at some point. I mean, my overall thoughts on Deep Breath is that, given what the episode it came off the back of, which was Time of the Doctor. Was it Time of the Doctor? It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was, you know, a much sort of a slower episode and not quite as... I think, you know, the quality of the episode definitely stepped up. The absolute quality. We talked about it earlier, the production, the set design, the lighting, the costumes look fabulous. They just stepped it up like nobody's business. The sets are, I mean, seriously, go online and have a look at how big some of those sets were. They were absolutely pissing enormous. And some of them were only used like for, I don't know, 3-4 minutes. I mean, that opening bit before the pre-credits, those sets are absolutely gigantic. They're at least 20 foot tall, and you know they span the whole length of the set.
That's pretty much a movie production, isn't it? What they've done there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're talking again. It's that set there when it goes down into the bay. All the floor for the Thames was built. All the walls, all the steps, everything. All the steps up, all the banking, even the banking for the Thames and all the Victorian houses. They were all built inside the studio. Just crazy, absolutely crazy. And minutes they're on screen, insane. But again, it looks fabulous. Absolutely looks staggering. And you know, credit to the costume designer. I don't know who was the costume designer on this. I'm going to check this out for a sec. Oh God, no, can I? Because I've got my window open here. Come on. You can do it. I believe in you. But yeah, I don't know. We're going to find out who the costumer was on this. Because Chrome will stop working.
If we all stop and think of your tablet,
yeah,
and use the power of our thoughts.
Yeah, with 15 satellites in orbit. What the hell? for some reason, and I don't know why, but my tablet is trying to log on to HSBC. Why that would do that, I don't know.
Well, you do like Hong Kong.
Yeah, I do. I love it. It's a fantastic place, but that's not at all what I was trying to do. Oh, good grief. So, no. It's okay. But yeah, I mean, the Deep Breath looks absolutely fantastic as a production. The story doesn't really work for me very well. It's solid enough, but again, we talked about it again. The fact that it wasn't a tie-in to Girl in the Fireplace, because again, it didn't make sense that the fact that the Doctor recognised, oh, it's the SS Madame de Pompadour. He never knew. He never saw the name of the ship. He left that ship in Girl in the Fireplace, never knowing why that ship was ever after the Madame de Pompadour. And so this would have been a tie-up for that as well. This would have been the Doctor going, okay, now I know why he was after her. I mean, it's just such a small thing, and it was right there. I mean, what do you think of the villains?
Well, they weren't the best villains, were they? Really?
It wasn't really a strong show. I mean, look, visually, it was striking. Visually, that to have that half-faced villain was, you know, it was a very visual, good-looking visual effect. But as in terms of how strong the villain was, aha! Thank you, Ian. Howard Burden was the costume designer. Cracking job. Thank you very much. Because my pad, I don't even know what my pad's doing anymore. It's done that.
It's doing a Skynet.
Yeah, it's decided it doesn't like stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, Howard Byrne did a fantastic job on the costumes. The lighting was spectacular. I mean, just for the shot whereby the T-Rex is burning, and you've got all that amber hues and the gorgeous reds flying around everywhere, and everybody's being just hit with this stunning glow of light. It's really very, very well done. As for regeneration, though, there was a lot that we were kind of like going, oh, okay, so this is where this series is going. He doesn't know if he's a good man, and then it didn't deliver, did it? It really didn't walk through that plot very well. I have 5 screens attached to my huge desktop computer. Yes, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and this one is no longer telling me stuff.
I've got a phone and a telly.
Yeah. Mine's decided to give up. So let's talk about Capaldi's run. I think we need to talk about Capaldi's run as a whole. Series 8 we mentioned last week had some really appalling episodes. Just absolutely appalling. I blame BBC executives for that. I don't blame Stephen Moffat. He's
certainly don't blame Peter Capaldi by any stretch.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I mean, he's doing what he's given, and I'm sure there were times when he himself probably. Here's the thing. I'd be willing to bet it was because of Series 8 and 9 that he decided to quit after Series 10. And the thing is, because he'd already said at Series 10, I'm leaving, he had left, made the decision to leave before they'd even shot Series 10. So had he had seen Series 10 first and then made the decision, I think he would have still been the Doctor. Because I don't think he would have left. I think he had made the decision, I'm leaving. Then they wrote Series 10. He got to do Series 10, and I went, shit, I'm going. And I mean, to me, if we're talking Series 8, we talked about this last week, the best episode of Series 8, it's got to be Listen. It has to be Listen. I think that is a brilliant episode of Doctor Who. Just a brilliant episode of Doctor Who, as opposed to a brilliant Capaldi episode, a brilliant episode of Doctor Who. The fact that at the end of that episode, we don't know if the Doctor actually saw anything. We don't even know if there was anything there. It's just it's one of those episodes whereby it was, I don't know.
That thing on the bed was proper creepy.
It was, yeah. But I mean, like, we don't know if that thing under the bed was just a kid having a laugh.
That's true. We never found out what it was.
We never found out. So we don't even know if there even was anything there. When he's under the door knocking, he said, well, it could be gas, just, compressing and the thing banging. And it was, we never found out. And it was a great episode. Well, a fantastic episode. I think he's my favourite. For me, it's Troughton. Where would I put him over the other Doctors? I think I'd probably put him just behind Sylvester McCoy, I think. I mean, Sylvester McCoy had a similar sort of type of it as the Doctor. So he reminds me of classic series Grumpy Doctors and No Kissing. Yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at with him. He's very much the Pertwee of this generation, isn't he? He's the. You can see the influences there. He's dressed. He's got a coat similar to sort of that William Hartnell Doctor. It's got the red lining like Pertwee, and the clean, crisp white shirts as well. So you can see those sorts of it. And I do like an older Doctor myself personally. The younger ones are fair enough, but they're useful for all the running around, I guess. But again, it depends on who you cast as the Doctor. It doesn't, just because somebody's an older Doctor doesn't mean to say they can't do as much running around.
I think for me, in terms of the actors playing the part, Peter Capaldi for me is up there with Pertwee and Baker because they're like my favourites.
Yeah,
I mean Baker to me is untouchable, as you know. We've spoke about that before, but as a Doctor, he's definitely up there for me. Just a shame he only had one good season of stories. Yeah,
I mean, again, he had some of the worst shit handed to him. Wasn't keen on the hoodie. Love the red Heaven Sent coat. Yeah, I mean, again, Heaven Sent, amazing episode. What I like with Heaven Sent is that he's the only one in it. There's nobody else in that episode until you get right to the very end. He's the only. It's a one-man show, and it absolutely nails. Absolutely nails. But I mean, come on, kill the moon. Piss off.
I just had that flick up on the screen looking through his episodes, and yeah. I mean, I don't like to swear on your channel, mate, but that was fucking shit.
Oh man, but you can't. No, because there's no other words you can actually pick from the English language that serve it justice. There isn't. There's no way you could describe that episode in any other way. There isn't. You would be doing yourself a disservice if you did. again, Mummy on the Orient Express. What I hate about Mummy on the Orient Express, right, is they went to pains. The production team went to actual pains to recreate the Orient Express. Now, the Orient Express is several trains, right? If you don't know about the Orient Express, let's just explain for anyone who might be watching. The Orient Express is not the name of the train. The Orient Express is the actual route that the train would take. It's any train that travelled between London and Istanbul was the Orient Express. But there were several trains, but those trains were all part of the same group. So all the carriages were decked out and lined the same way. And the production team found one of the older photos of one of the older carriages and went at lengths to recreate that particular carriage and the other carriages. And then, of course, when they do the episode, then it's like, oh, it's the Orient Express in space! And I was like, oh, Christ. Like, what? Here's the thing, right? This is what like, they've done exactly the same thing with Kill the Moon, right? Kill the Moon had a really, really solid premise. You land on the moon, there's a moon base, there's things on the moon that have infested the moon and is killing people. It's Alien. It's Doctor Who does Alien, right? And then they go, oh no, but the moon's an egg. And it's actually a living creature. And you go, ah, crap. Ah, bollocks. And then they do the same thing with Mummy on the Orient Express, whereby instead of it being the Orient Express in like the early 1900s and being set in Egypt, it's the Orient Express in space, and the mummy is a zombie cyborg. Like, what are you doing? Imagine.
Well, they had the Titanic in space, didn't they? So, I mean, you know, if you're going to go through the great journeys of human history.
No, I mean, the worst part was that when they done the visuals for it, it looked like a bloody cartoon train. It was running on space tracks. I mean, it was just pissing awful. It just looked like your standard locomotive. They didn't even just really sort of do anything sort of back. You know, like the Back to the Future train. They didn't really do anything like that either. It was just like this train just going like this through space. And why wouldn't you just travel in a straight line anyway? But I mean, it's just like no, God. And the fact that you can't. Why modern Doctor Who now? I mean, they've done the one episode which was the Shakespeare Code, which actually dealt with black magic. But modern Doctor Who doesn't do black magic anymore. Like, Doctor Who hasn't done black magic, I don't think, since either Shakespeare Code or Silver Nemesis. I mean, think about that. Silver Nemesis was the last proper time they actually used black magic in Doctor Who. That's shocking.
Well, they don't want to offend people now, do they? That's the thing. Some people find that offensive, so we can't do it.
No, but I mean, like, you know, you've got things that tie into, you know, Pyramids of Mars. We've had mummies in Doctor Who before, which were androids. So, Mummy on the Orient Express goes through Cairo, or you know, on its way back, and there's a mummy on board the train, and the mummy keeps coming alive and killing people, and that is a sound story for Doctor Who. And then it turns out, no, it's a zombie cyborg from space, because the train is in space. And it's called the Orient Express because it doesn't travel anywhere near the Orient. That doesn't make sense to me. My brain can't figure that out. If they called it the Orion Express, that would have worked. And if they had made the train look a little bit more spaceshipy, that would have worked as well. But to call it the Orient Express and not have it travel through the Orient is a bit stupid. It just...
And then we had... I was going to say, and then we had Flatline.
Oh, God. Expelliarmus! Yeah, that's the end of that episode. In the Forest of the Night, we talked about that. Nothing happens. Dark Water. Death in Heaven. My hatred for that is well known, documented. Last Christmas. Last Christmas with Nick Frost as Santa Claus. Interesting idea. The fact that there was more of a sort of dreamlike state. Could have brought back the Dream Lord. I'm pretty sure Toby Jones would have been up for it. I would have loved to have seen a sequel to the Dream Lord. I don't know how you feel about that, Ian, but or you, Chris?
Sorry, say that again. I was flicking through the Wikipedia then when I should have been listening.
Last Christmas, I would have done it where it would have been I would have brought back the Dream Lord, Toby Jones.
Yeah, that would have worked. I mean, when I saw the trailer and I saw Nick Frost playing Father Christmas, I thought, well, that's brilliant. That's a match made in heaven. But yeah, that was a bit of a nothing story as well, wasn't it? I know it's a Christmas one and it's supposed to be a bit of fun and that, and also that would have been the episode where I would have written Clara out of the show and brought in a new companion as well.
The Mondal. Hey, what are you talking about, buddy? We've just finished watching Deep Breath. We're now talking about the run that Peter Capaldi had, and we're just talking about the episode Last Christmas, where basically talking about sort of the missed opportunities that unfortunately what Peter Capaldi had, really. Last Christmas was very face-huggery. Good point about the Space Orient Express. Thank you very much. It was very space-huggery. But again, that's why I would have brought back the Dream Lord. I would have definitely brought back that. Beginning of the next season, then, we're into Magician's Apprentice, where the Doctor meets a very young Davros. Changing pace for this episode. I really, really liked the start of the episode. I thought those hand grenades were a bit silly, and that's putting it mild. I thought they could have been creepy, but I felt that they were a little bit silly.
Not calling them hand grenades would have been better.
Well, yeah, I mean, but you know what I mean. They're hand mines, weren't they? Yeah. But yeah, hand grenades, whatever. I think hand grenades does work better, actually. Yeah.
Well, that's what they were actually called.
Yeah, no, hand mines, I think they are. I mean, I like the whole hand thing with the eye in them. It's very sort of what's the Pan's Labyrinth? Where you get that creature that does this, and it's just fantastic film, Pan's Labyrinth. The whole plot with Davros, it makes sense actually in some ways that the Daleks can't kill the Doctor because they would have actually wiped out their own existence if they had. And this episode is kind of the testament to that, because it was the Doctor that saved Davros as a child, and if the Daleks had killed the Doctor before he was able to save Davros, they would have wiped out their own existence. So it does kind of explain how the Daleks can't kill the Doctor. I love Pan's Labyrinth. Pan's Labyrinth is amazing. I particularly still cringe at the part where the soldier has the bottle and he's hitting that guy in the face. Oh, no, that's then we're into Under the Lake and Before the Flood. Nice little time travel-y stuff, but it's the villain. My problem with it is the villain. Are we into Stranger Things? Yeah, I love Stranger Things. I think Stranger Things is a fantastic show. But yeah, back to Doctor Who. Do you remember the villain from this, Chris? The big, tall, like he was about 7 foot tall. He had that sort of big sort of thing coming up over the top of his head.
Oh yeah, I remember him because he was voiced by Corey Taylor, of the singer of Slipknot.
Yeah, well, a great looking thing until he got out into the daylight, and then he just looked ridiculous. And unfortunately, part of the episode took place out in the daylight, and it's a shame because you can clearly see that thing was made to be strolling around in the dark. You know, it had a great silhouette. It looked fantastic in its outline, and it looked really, really strong. And it was really intimidating. And then you go outside, and it's just like you look like you fell into a rubber suit factory. But yeah, I mean, there was some good paradoxical stuff going on. It was sort of bootstrap paradox being played around with in the episode. Ultimately, though, not a great showing.
The cliffhanger in between the two, where you see the Doctor outside with the hollow eyes and that was superb. That was really well done.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Where you see the ghost image of the Doctor, yeah, that was. But again, I mean, the production values on this show aren't anything to complain about. It does simply come down to the storytelling, and the storytelling is what snares it every time. My whole image of Doctor Who is through Sheldon's eyes from Big Bang Theory. Good grief. Well, if you haven't really gone into Doctor Who, I mean, you know, there's a lot to get. There's a lot to look at.
Just one or two stories.
Yeah, I mean, do what most people do and just start at Rose and make your way through. You're better off starting off that way than going back. I mean, I could recommend older Classic Who, but most people who watch older Classic Who end up getting put off by it. You're best off starting off later on and working your way through from Rose. The Girl Who Died, where they introduce us to the character of Me. So I hated this episode so much for almost every. The one thing that I really don't like about the episode is it was a waste of location and a waste of cinematography. The cinematographer, I don't know who was the cinematographer on it, but I wouldn't hire him. Not at all, because they built a load of village, they built a load of this entire area, and you never saw it. They could have shot that in an empty field, because all you ever saw was this of everyone, and everything else was out of focus. You had all these extras walking around. They could have been walking around in jeans. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference because it was a blurry shape walking around in the background. That's all you ever saw.
I'll tell you the bit I did like in that episode, because I'm with you. It was annoying, the amount of wasted screen time they had. But that final shot where you see a Shielder as she is then, looking sort of like bright-eyed and I'm alive, and the camera pans round her and you see the seasons change and she gradually looks more and more miserable and then more and more angry. That's a credit to that shot and to Maisie Williams' acting in that. I thought that last shot of that episode was absolutely brilliant, but the rest of the episode was just throwaway.
The photography was awful, and it was staged really bad as well. It was all staged in two shots as well, so they would be walking like this, and that's how it would be shot. And they'd be talking that way as well. I mean, they at no point did they sort of like stop and turn and face each other and have a conversation. You know, there was never. It was always shot like, and now I'm talking to this person here. Like instead of I'm talking to you, that's how they would shoot it, and it was just not good. I mean,
I'll tell you something we forgot when we was talking about Under the Lake and Before the Flood. Sonic sunglasses.
Oh,
or do you just want to forget that?
We'll get around to Sonic sunglasses. No, I wasn't keen on the two girl episodes. So yeah, the woman. Okay, so the woman who lived. The whole scene in the house where they try to escape through escape the house. You know, the break in. I was just I left that. She becomes the highwayman. And the doctor's trying to intervene. Oh dear God. That's where I'm going to leave that. I wasn't keen on that. The Zygon invasion and the Zygon inversion, probably, I'd say the highest rated episode for Capaldi at this point. Zygon invasion and inversion, that two-parter probably was the I'd say you got Listen and then these two, and that's pretty much the entire Capaldi run. Then you got Sleep No More, god awful. The dust in your eyes becomes a monster if you don't brush it away. What the piss was Mark Gatiss on? What had he been smoking, drinking, eating, or whatever? I mean,
probably some mushrooms involved.
It beggars belief. I mean, it was everything about the episode was bad. Everything. And then Face the Raven. Oh, Clara's death went on for a bit, didn't it? She just didn't die. I mean, at this point in that episode, you know the bit whereby the Raven's coming down the alleyway. I'm like, look, get a move on, kill her. Because at this point in this particular part of the storytelling, I was done with Clara. She was stealing the show out from underneath the main character. The main character was now subservient to the companion, and that's never the way it should have been.
No, both my sons stopped watching Doctor Who towards the end of Matt Smith, really, because they were sick to death of Clara, and I think they actually stopped at the beginning, within the first few episodes of Capaldi's run, because they just didn't. They got nothing against the actress; they just couldn't stand the character anymore.
Yeah, again, I will never say anything bad about Jenna Coleman. Jenna Coleman is absolutely knockout. And again, if you go back and watch, if you're gonna go back and watch Robot of Sherwood, don't. But if you are going to, there is the scene between her and the sheriff, and she just absolutely kills it. Absolutely kills it. I mean, it's drama 101, and she's been the best thing about this show since she came into it. But the character of Clara, just no. She became Dr. Clara, and that's what it was. And there was even an episode whereby she was pretending to be the doctor, and it was just like, oh my god, how far can you go? I really like the scene at the end of Face of the Raven where the doctor threatens me. Is that in the future bit whereby he goes to the farthest end of time, or is that? Or am I thinking of a different episode? I'm not sure, because he does the whole bit where he goes back for it, doesn't he? Or is that in Heaven Sent? Yeah, I tell you what I don't like about Heaven Sent. Sorry, not Heaven Sent, Hellbent. Where they do the whole bit where they get the old TARDIS console room. Don't like the fact that they repainted it. My God, did I hate that? Because if you watch what they did was they used the set they acquired from An Adventure in Space and Time, which was faithful to the Hartnell set. So what they did for Hellbent was they repainted it to make it more in tandem with what people thought they saw in the Hartnell episodes. So this sort of mint pale green console that they had was repainted white. I was like, it's not supposed to be white. Why would you do that? And they did the same with the walls as well. So everything was sterilized white. And she's like, well, why? It's not so. By making it more accurate, you've actually made it more inaccurate. Okay, let's show that. This bit, minute long, exact. Let's have a quick gander of that. Oh, the 12th Doctor goes ape shit and threatens the Shielder. I've got to be honest, I think one of the best moments that Capaldi had was probably with Bill Potts, whereby he just knocks that guy out.
Oh, I was going to say that when that episode came up.
Oh, we can talk about that. Yeah, that is a good looking jacket that he's got on, isn't it? That deep red. Again, you've got Capaldi playing off Coleman, and you've got two great actors. That's all you can say, really. You've got two great actors. Yeah. Thoroughly good stuff.
That's a great clip.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Ian.
Cheers, Ian.
That was but yeah, again, you've got the... Well, what have I done here? Yeah. There. Yeah, I'm going to get that echo sorted. Damn thing keeps interrupting all the time. So yeah, that's Hellbent. Husbands of River Song, not keen on the episode overall. Matt Lucas introduces Nardole. Okay. I thought it had a decent enough idea behind it. I loved the end though. The end of Husbands of River Song I thought was brilliant. Because you get this whole scene whereby he's talking to River and love River sunrise speech. Yeah, that's just the before the bit whereby he kind of he's sort of trying to convince her that he's the Doctor, and she keeps missing it all the time, and then she finally gets it. And towards the end of the episode, you get the whole bit whereby he's telling her, because he takes her to the singing towers, isn't he? And it's that bit there. They spend the next 25 years together before she goes off to be to the library, and it's the first time whereby you don't really. There's a 25-year sort of bit. I think it's 25 years. Whereby the Doctor is actually married to River Song, and it's not often. I mean, again, in Name of the Doctor is probably the time where I felt the part where Matt Smith kissed River Song, the bit where I really felt like these two actually are husband and wife. And that's really the only time I felt it until that moment, until the end of Husbands of River Song. But as for the villain of it, and it was kind of a, because it was Greg Davis was the villain for Husbands of River Song, wasn't it?
Yeah, he played King Hydroflax, I think it was.
Hydroflax, yeah.
And he was Greg Davis playing Greg Davis, and I really like Greg Davis' stand-up. So
yeah, and he's a big chap anyway. As it is, he's like 6'6" or something like that. So He's a large lad. Yeah, I mean, it was a weird character. And then again, you had Matt Smith, Jesus, what's his name?
Matt Lucas.
Matt Lucas being introduced as Nardole. I've never been a massive Matt Lucas fan. I mean, I'm still thinking of him as bloody George Dawes from.
Yeah, we all think of him as George Dawes.
He's a baby. And then we get into Return of Doctor Mysterio. Several reasons. Probably my favorite Christmas special. I think it's got to be my favorite. I think one of my favorite reasons about it is that it's a love story to the Christopher Reeve Superman, and Christopher Reeve Superman is the best Superman. Don't give a shit. Carver can suck it.
I'm absolutely with you on that. I know we're talking Doctor Who, but just as an aside,
yeah.
The only other Superman I like is in the animated Justice League, preferably with George Newbern playing him, or even the bloke that done him in the Superman animated series.
Tim Daly.
But none of them, yeah, that's him. None of them come close to Christopher Reeve.
No. So my stance on Superman is very simple, actually. Christopher Reeve is the best. That's where I'm at. The next one after that is Kirk Allen. We're back in the 40s. And some people don't get that, but I mean, you've kind of got to watch the show in terms of how it was in the period. You know, you've kind of got to forget how things are now. And if you watch it sort of with the period in mind, it actually works really, really well. And Kirk Allen, Superman, is really good. And there's stuff he does. The stuff he really does. There's a really good part. If you watch it on YouTube, there's bits whereby he'll go, he'll be Clark Kent and go, and now it's a job for Superman. And his voice will actually go boom. And he's really, you know, he's really top notch.
Before we get off the subject of Superman,
yeah.
Don't shoot me or laugh at me.
Yeah.
But I actually like Brandon Routh as well as Superman because of the way he played it.
And the show. Totally understood.
Crack story, but
yeah. No. Look, I love him in Legends of Tomorrow. I think you made I thought he'd done a good job as Superman. It wasn't his fault, the script. I mean, if you as Superman scenes go, that airplane rescue is phenomenal. Where he rescues that airplane in Superman Returns is fantastic, and his tone and timbre is spot on. It's just the rest of the story. It's just awful.
It is awful.
But I mean, like if after Kirk Allen, I'd probably put Dean Cain. Mainly because I think Dean Cain Superman is a really good Elseworld story. And I've talked about Lois and Clark before now. I've done a whole top 5 episodes of Lois and Clark. But Dean Cain isn't a great actor in terms of, you know, he's got better sense, but even he would admit he's not a great actor. But what Lois and Clark does really well is that it makes you forget all the mystical stuff about Superman. It just goes, look, this guy's a farm boy. This guy is a guy named Clark Kent, and he just does this stuff because he wants to help. And that's, you know, they even state in the show, like, you know, Superman is what he can do, Clark is who he is. And it's the relationship between him and Lois that makes the whole thing work. Without that, it would just be trash.
Oh, and the last 5 minutes of the entire 10 series of Smallville for Tom Welling. Just the last 5 minutes, because they used the music.
Oh man! Well, no, I'm going to disagree with you there because I think there's a couple of episodes where it does it well. There's where they bring in the character of Dr. Swan, played by Christopher Reeve. for 2 episodes, and they actually bring in the music of the John Williams score for that as well. But come on, Tom Welling's playing the lead of character of Superman in his own show, and the only person that gets the bloody John Williams score is a guest actor. I love it. You just turn, hello, Kal-El. Da, 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 da. Oh, come on. No tights, no flights, no music. Oh dear. I do love the episode Crusade. And Absolute Justice Part 1 and 2 for Smallville. Back to Doctor Who.
Back to Doctor Mysterious, huh? Yeah. Mysterio.
Doctor Mysterio. Yeah, good, nice tribute to sort of the Christopher Reeve Superman. And it's good that it's light on Christmas, because just because you've got a Doctor Who episode that's airing on Christmas doesn't mean to say that you've got one that's going to be written about Christmas every year, which was one of the most ludicrous things that Chris Chibnall said as to why he wanted to put Doctor Who on New Year's Day, because he didn't want to do a Christmas story. Why write a Christmas story? Nobody's making you write a Christmas story. Just write a bloody Doctor Who story.
Well, it's true, isn't it? I mean, I'm thinking back to when I was a kid now, but every year on Christmas Day or Boxing Day, you had the Guns of Navarone on. You don't get much further away from Christmas than fighting the Nazis.
Yeah, it's a great on every year. Stephen jumping a barbed wire fence. Yeah, I mean, there's no need for it. You always put war films on and stuff like that. You know, the Dam Busters, and it's like, well, why do you need? Why does it have to be a Christmas story? Just make it a Doctor Who story. Let's get into the pilot. The Doctor is intrigued by an employee named Bill. She's not a canteen employee. She's a canteen employee, but she's a college student. So that's wrong.
No, she becomes a college student because of the Doctor, didn't she?
Yeah, I suppose.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't she? Isn't she? No, doesn't she? I mean, she was working in the canteen, but she is a student though. She does sit in his classes, doesn't she?
Yeah, but I don't think she's a student to start with. I think she's just sitting in his classes. Because she goes on. That's one of the lines that made me laugh in that was when there was a girl she fancied. She was giving her extra chips. She goes on chip for her.
Yeah, Die Hard is an Xmas story. Yes, and so is Lethal Weapon. Lethal Weapon is actually it's a Wonderful Life, just done with guns. So yeah, the pilot. What I liked with the pilot was how much it was Pertwee. That instead of it being a laboratory and unit, it was a professor's office in a college. Then he had Capaldi with his electric guitar. We haven't really talked about the electric guitar, have we?
Well, I will say one thing about the electric guitar.
Yeah.
The one episode where they chucked that in the title was probably the best music of Capaldi's run. Now, yes. I love a bit of guitar music, obviously, looking at my avatar here.
When Capaldi's rocking up the theme.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't checked. Was that Capaldi playing the theme?
I don't know.
It could have been. He's proficient enough on the guitar. And it probably might have been something. It would have been nice because it would have been something that he would have done. Then we got the episode Smile with the emoji bots. Creepy little things. The emoji bots. The only thing I didn't like about the that episode was the nanotechnology explanation, because when he points the Sonic at the wall and it's like, oh, this entire thing is made out of nanobots, they can once they've. Because my understanding is that once something has formed into something else and it's deactivated, that's the way it is. And once it reactivates and turns back into nanobots, then I don't see why it would have taken so long to have killed everyone. If you see what I mean, if the entire structure that you were standing around is made of these things, then why would it take that long to relay that information? Whereas if they were deactivated, it would be a solid structure. It would be like, well, you can't reactivate these things now. That's kind of really the only thing I didn't like about the story. I thought it was a very well put together story, and I particularly liked the part where they would go through the underbelly, and he's telling Bill about go this way to get out. She's like, well, how do you know the map? And he's like, well, wait a minute, you already remember it, don't you? And he's like, yeah. It tells you Lego. Yeah. But yeah, again, the end of the episode reminded me of what was the end of the world with Christopher Eccleston. You know, where he had that sort of big lever thing to slow down stuff, and he had that in Smile. He had that sort of console with the thing in the middle. Yeah, the only thing I wasn't keen on that. Thin Ice. I thought Thin Ice was going to end up tying into the Loch Ness monster story that they done way back, because it was dealing with a monster in the Thames that was freezing the water. Didn't though. Again, it's one of those little things whereby they could have done it. No.
I love the bit in that where the Doctor chinned Lord Sutcliffe.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we had previously mentioned and we were going to talk about it, but we've totally forgot it. Yeah, it was a great moment because it's very. We've talked about it before, whereby there's this whole thing where they written into the scripts, whereby they say, "Oh, the Doctor doesn't do violence." No, the Doctor does. It just takes a lot to push him over, or it just takes the right button to push the Doctor over the edge. But I mean, watch Pertwee for Christ's sake. He not only does violence, he quite enjoys it. You know, he's a proficient sword fighter. He's one of the best sword fighters there is. He's proficient in Venetian Aikido. You know, and according to the Doctor Who lore, he's one of the best at that Aikido without having the extra limbs. So yeah, the fact that the Doctor, the people say, oh, the Doctor doesn't do violence. The Doctor has shot people. You know, literally. Yeah, Knock Knock with David Suchet as the villain of this piece, with a wood creature that has overtaken his mother, and he started off as a young child, and he's been living in the house ever since, and has grown up and is now an old man. Totally underappreciated episode, I think.
I loved this episode.
I thought it was brilliant. I genuinely thought it was brilliant. I thought the end was a bit of a cheesy ending, whereby the people from the 70s were brought back as well. I think it would have been better if they'd just been like, oh no, they're dead. It's been long enough now, they're dead. But the fact that the people were getting brought back at the end, I thought was okay. But I mean, it comes to the point now whereby I would probably say as well, that was probably the execs at the BBC as well, going, "Oh, you've killed all these people," and it's okay. It'll be okay in the end. And for me, I would have been like, "No, they're dead now." Oxygen. Oh, space zombies. Oh, space zombies where oxygen has been taxed. I mean, there's the whole adage, we say it all the time these days, how long before the government taxes the air that we breathe, and then you got this episode there, which really sort of talks about, oxygen in space. Oxygen is a commodity. We can charge for oxygen. Brilliant episode. Again, the fact that you've got those suits that make the space zombies. There's the suits. The people are dead inside the suits, and the suits are still walking around. Yeah, I mean, it's great stuff. And the fact that there are consequences. There are consequences to the actions because the Doctor is left blind. Brilliant stuff. Extremis, another great episode. What I like with the episode of Extremis is the fact that it's not actually an episode of Doctor Who. In fact, it's the Doctor watching an episode of Doctor Who. Pretty much. Because it takes place, it's all in a virtual Doctor in a virtual universe. Cracking episode, cracking idea.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah, I got very little I can say about Extremis in terms of in terms of fault. There's no real fault I've got with it. It introduces the monks. Not the best villains. Kind of short-lived. Kind of Pyramid at the End of the World and The Lie of the Land. The Lie of the Land dealt with something that I thought might have worked a little better, which is the bit whereby the Doctor actually sides with the villains this time, as opposed to the Doctor siding with people, humans, the Earth. And I think it would have worked better if the Doctor had actually sided with the villains, because he might have seen something bigger, something more, that other people couldn't see. And then it turns out, no, he's just playing along. And it's just like, really? Well, you couldn't have pulled something else out of the hat. There couldn't have been another reason for, maybe you're just trying to get humanity through this small period in time to get them safely through to the other side. And there's no other way to do it. But no, it was a case of no.
That had a lot of lovely build up the episode, and it kind of went flat, really, didn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it starts with Pyramid at the End of the World, which I can't remember the actress's name, but she, I thought she did a cracking job, and the fact that they cast, I don't even know what you call them anymore, little person. How PC is the world got? But the fact that they cast a good actress. That's the best part about it, was the fact they cast a good actress for it, and she played well with Peter Capaldi. And I was convinced she was going to die at the end, and she didn't. And it was just like, well, okay, she's going to be in the next episode, and she wasn't. And I was like, I'm a bit confused now. Why isn't she in this episode? Why isn't she part of the resolve? But no. But yeah, it was good. But it was just like, they dealt with these people, and then again, it was one of those stories whereby I don't know what it is with Stephen Moffat's writing, but once again, he killed them with love. I mean, he'd done this to the Cybermen. He did it to the Matt Smith's story with James Corden. I mean, how many times have you got to beat people with love? You just like they could have gone a little bit further, and there could have been a better reason as to why the Doctor was doing what he was doing, and they decided, no, we're not going to do it.
It might have been better if it had been completely written by the same person as well. I know Moffat would have overseen it, but you got Extremis was written by Stephen Moffat.
Yeah.
The Pyramid at the End of the World was written by Peter Harness and Stephen Moffat, and The Lie of the Land was written by Toby Whitehouse, or Whithouse, however you pronounce his name.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but it still falls back to Stephen Moffat, because he is the head writer. I mean, he's the one. He's essentially doing the Terrence Dicks job of reading the scripts, getting his pen and going, change that. That's okay. There we go. Go rewrite that. That's his job. And again, it goes back to what I've said many times about Stephen Moffat, which is that he's a great story writer, and I mean a great story writer. But as a head writer or a showrunner, which it's a term I don't like, you just can't do the job. And just because you're good at one job doesn't mean to say you're good at others. Empress of Mars.
A return to form for Mark Gatiss.
Yeah, but good to see the Ice Warriors back.
Yeah.
And in force. Because obviously we had them back in the Cold War episode on board the submarine. I wasn't sure to make of the compression gun which cubed people. But it was nasty. That was a nasty weapon. When I saw it, was just like, ooh.
That's going to sting a bit.
Yeah, there was a sort of, because there wasn't a crunch, it was more of a squelch. Yeah, it was just like, that's going to leave a mark. Yeah, that's going to require lots of physiotherapy. Yeah, the sonic gun was harsh. Yeah, it was. It was really nasty. Eaters of Light. Now then, this episode I actually thought was both brilliant and shite at the same time. So what I thought was brilliant about it was the fact that it was dealing with the 9th Roman Legion. And it's not often that modern Who would go sort of into actual history. You know, it would deal with an actual historical event. And the 9th Roman Legion obviously is an actual thing. You know, the 9th Roman Legion just disappeared over, you know, they were occupying the northern border of England and Scotland, and well, they just disappeared, and nobody knows really what actually happened to them. Were they assassinated? If they were, where were their remains? If they left, then where did they go? How did they leave? Did they board ships and go over to Norway? Did they go south? But there's no documentation of the 9th. Of all the Roman legions that were occupying Britain at the time, the 9th is the one that just literally, all the others we know where they went. The 9th is just like, nope, God, don't know what happened. They went north, they went to Scotland and disappeared. So, good story. And then you get the whole bit inside the hill. And you get this big doggy thing running around, killing people. And then it was just like, all right, we have to guard this doorway. And the bit that really annoys me is the bit whereby they're shining light on them, and they've got these, like, they make these mirrors. And the reason why it really annoys me is because that's not how physics works. And anyone with a mirror could know that's not how physics works. Because they were, how can I put it? So they had these mirror things here, and they were holding them, and then they would move them, and they would, instead of just tilting it to bend the light, they would move it. But the light that was hitting the mirror was coming in from the door would stay with the object. It's like, that's not a beam of light. If I shine a beam of light at something, the beam of light doesn't move. You have to move the object, not the beam. You can't physically move the sun. I was just like, oh my, why would you do that? You've only got to add the effect on of the beam coming off the reflection. It's a small thing, but it really, really bugs me. And then you've got this whole thing with the crows being able to speak, and crows have always been able to speak, but now they just say "caw." I was like, oh, the budgie versions of the Knights who say "me."
That's why they only ever get run over by lorries and not cars, because they can't say lorry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they can't say transit. Then we get on to World Enough on Time. Okay, so this is something that you might know, something you might not know. Believe it or not, but back when they made the episode Blink, Blink was nominated and won a Saturn Award for writing, for science fiction writing. The story that came runner-up was a story by Star Trek New Voyages called World Enough and Time, which is a great episode of Star Trek New Voyages. Fantastic. So when I saw the title of World Enough and Time, I thought to myself, no. Where are they going with this? And obviously the title comes from, I believe it's Shakespeare, isn't it? From The Tempest? I believe. I'm not entirely sure. But I think, I could be wrong. But when I saw that, I was like, no, they couldn't have gone with that as a title. There's other things with that episode title in. But yeah, it deals with the fact that they finally let Missy out and decide to give her own sort of run. And the next 2 episodes are amazing. Just amazing. Totally blown by the trailer. Totally ruined by the trailer for the show. But, I mean, I still loved it. I absolutely loved World Enough and Time and The Doctor Falls. I mean, I don't know where you stand with that, Chris, but I mean, to see the Mondasian Cybermen back again, I was just like, I was in my element, because it was great to see these creepy bastards back on screen.
Oh, yeah, same here, mate. The walking robot zombies were back, and they are a lot creepier than everything that followed.
Oh, man. Do you know the bit that really made me go, oh, no? It was the bit whereby, she walks into the ward, and there's one of them, and it's just doing this. And it's like, oh, what's it doing? And she walks up and she turns the volume up. And it's just like, kill me, kill me, kill me, kill me. And she's like, oh, no. And because you can see all the others, and the others are doing this sort of thing as well. And the problem was that, again, they've blown the surprise. It wasn't the fact that maybe it was due to the episode order, but knowing that this was a 2-part finale to the show, and we hadn't seen them, and they had posted pictures of Peter Capaldi with the Mondasian Cybermen, and we'd had the trailer, we're showing the Master, Missy, the Cybermen, and none of this had been seen right up until this point. It was like, oh, well, we know what this episode's about, because you just blown it all for us. The worst marketing of any season. The worst. But as an episode goes, interesting concept, the fact that they land on a ship that's so big in the orbit of a black hole that its front end is operating in a different time to its back end.
That's a great idea. Great idea, that was.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. And I even like the rationality of it as well, whereby he says about, we've got to move up these decks. And he says, well, we can't. And he says, well, by the time we move from this deck to this deck, they would have evolved 1,000 years. I was like, we have to stay where we're at. We can go maybe the deck above, but by the time we can't get to the top of the ship. There's what they could have, by the time we get to the top of the ship, what they would have evolved into. And it's the only episode of the modern run that acknowledges that the bloody Master has a TARDIS. Because he actually says, my TARDIS is parked at the bottom of the ship, and I need a dematerialization circuit. And Missy goes, look. And it's an actual dematerialization circuit from the 3rd Doctor. Brilliant. So much good stuff. Just unfortunately all blown. Even the way Johnson was playing Mr. Razor. Fantastic stuff. Lots of really, really, really good stuff. If you didn't know, you were in for a treat.
I didn't know. I was fortunate enough to have missed the trailer.
Yeah.
And I mean, that episode, or the between the two episodes, I can't remember if it's at the end of the first one or beginning of the second one, the bit where Bill, in converted form, says to the Doctor, "I waited," in the Sideman voice.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. They haven't.
I mean, there's lots of good stuff. Like the part whereby, if you notice Bill's hair in the episode as well, she's got this sort of bit more of a Cyberman fro to it. So her hair's actually a bit more squared up. And when you see her in the shadows then, her shadow doesn't actually have the hair. Her shadow's got the handlebars. I mean, that's good stuff as well. And I even like the part whereby when they start talking and he talks to her as Bill and she switches from being a Cyberman to being Bill. I like that because it would have been really awkward to have had some of those conversations with a Cyberman. It would have been interesting.
And the tear that comes out of the eye. Man, I'm not I'm not an emotional person at the best of times, but I was like, that put a lump in the throat, that did.
Yeah. Plus it also explains where the teardrop comes from, the Cyberman.
Yep.
You get the classic Cyberman with the two realms and the teardrop. So yeah, all of which ties into Dark Water, Missy with the Cyberman. Yes, unfortunately. Unfortunately, yeah. Because again, like Missy, great character. I don't really like her for the Master though. She's so flamboyant, and I really look. My Master is always going to be Roger Delgado, right? I mean, that's the way I'm wired. Roger Delgado was the Master. He was this barbaric gentleman that did things civilly, with civility then. He drank fine wine, he ate good food, he would, duel somebody in a sword or pistol. He was this very sort of aristocratic villain, but he wasn't aloof. And the fact that she's so frivolous, whereby she's walking onto the set and dabbing, I'm like, oh, do you have to? I mean, I do like that about the character.
Painful to watch.
But I mean, I like it about the character because that's what the character is. But the Master, I mean, I get that these the regeneration is supposed to have these different personalities, but I don't. If you were to put like Roger Delgado by the side of her, would you say that works? As
no.
I don't know. I mean, different people got different ideas as to who the Master is. I mean, John Sim plays the Master differently, and later on he starts emoing up.
But I mean, if you put it into context, I mean, could you imagine, say, instead of Sylvester McCoy being the Seventh Doctor, they gave it to Freddie Mercury, but instead of playing the Doctor, he used his stage persona, and that's pretty much what he got with Missy for me. Too flamboyant.
I mean, it's just. I like the character of Missy. It's just not.
I like the actress as well.
It's just not the person I would have made it. I always dress for the occasion. I mean, there's the whole erection joke in it as well, which I kind of went, okay, that's second twisted, but let's go with that. Again, the Sims Master, I would have loved more Derek Jacobi. I would have loved more Derek Jacobi as the Master. Again, if you're talking about who I would cast as the Master, I'll go back and say Charles Dance. give me Charles Dance as the Master, and I will show you a Master that will scare the living bejesus out of generations of people.
Yeah, he would have been great for him as a Master.
I mean, I'm trying to think of somebody else who I could honestly say would have that same sort of gravitas and still have that same sort of. I mean, I suppose David Bradley, but I mean, he's the first Doctor, so. But he would have been a different kind of master as well. He would have been a more gruff master.
I think when he was younger, I think Sir Christopher Lee would have made a bloody good master as well.
Oh yeah, I mean he would have been absolutely terrifying. But again, it does come down. It still comes down to the storytelling. But can you imagine it giving some of the lines of John Sim to Charles Dance? I mean, in fact, I tell you what, there is a master video that it's one I absolutely love with Charles Dance as the master. Let me just find this, and I will put a link in there, and you can watch this because this is, I think it was taken from the Winter Olympics, I believe. There it is. So somebody, I don't know who made this. This was made by the fandom blogger. Oh, good name. So I'm gonna just hold on for a second. I will take this link, copy. Where can I put this link, Chris? Where would you like me to see this link? In the chat?
Well, yeah, put it in the YouTube chat. Now we're not watching the video. I've not got full screen video anymore. So
okay, so I'll post it in the YouTube chat. Okay, so click on that right now.
That's in another tab. I am there. Just let me know when you want to play it.
Right, so if I just back this up to the start, and I click play in 3, 2, 1, go. I mean, come on.
That would have been amazing.
Just knock your socks off. Just
sold.
Absolutely knock your socks off. I mean, I have nothing else to say about that. There it is. Just job done. So I think well, we're at the end there of the Dr. Peter Capaldi's run. Only one other episode to follow behind that, and that is Twice Upon a Time. Thoughts on Twice Upon a Time were that it was great seeing Bradley back as the first Doctor. I absolutely loved seeing them together on screen. It was a two-Doctor story. Fantastic. Didn't like what they did with the first Doctor. It's the only thing I can say. I didn't like the way that they treated... They kept repeating the same joke over and over, that this guy would come up with some sexist line.
Well, he wouldn't, would he? I mean, it's just, that was ridiculous.
It really, as somebody who, I consider myself a Doctor Who fan lifelong, and you know, I used to get the tapes, but back before DVD was invented, I used to get the tapes, and it was difficult to find older episodes of Doctor Who on tape. So when you ever saw an older Doctor Who, which was, you know, sometimes it'd be on early morning or something like that, and particularly the black and white ones were very rarely shown. It was very, very difficult to see them. So when we would actually end up watching a William Hartnell episode of Doctor Who, yeah, I was already enamored with the character from things like the 3 Doctors and the 5 Doctors, and you know, what other people had seen, what other Doctors had brought to the show. UK Gold Sunday mornings, yeah. But when you watch these episodes, what I found was that the character was completely misrepresented in Twice Upon a Time. Not entirely, because there were lines directly lifted from the show, but it was the context that wasn't lifted as well. It was they had literally lifted the line and gone, you see, the Doctor did say this. Like, yeah, he did. But at that point, in that episode, he was talking to his granddaughter, who was still a girl. You know? No, she was still in school. I mean, he wasn't being... even from a... You might look at him and say, oh, okay, he was using older mentality. But no, he was just using grandfatherly mentality. He was being a responsible adult. You know? And we talked about it when we went way back when we done... what's it called? An Unearthly Child. About how he would... Because a lot of people said, oh, you know, he would blank Susan and only talk to Ian. It's like, no, he didn't. If you watch that episode again, I think you'll find that Ian actually forced himself on the Doctor, which made the Doctor respond. He was actually ignoring both of them. It's just... They misrepresented Hartnell's Doctor in Twice Upon a Time. He did a good enough job to the part whereby you could clearly see the Doctor in him, but they just kept hammering the misogynistic and bloody sexist jokes too much. Once or twice was enough. You got it. It was like, okay, this Doctor's moved on now.
I mean, I'm surprised, really, they didn't have him pick up on the fact that Bill was a black girl, because they went so overboard with the misogynist stuff. And I was really surprised. I was sitting there waiting for it. I was like, no, don't. Unfortunately, they didn't, but that would have been even just terrible. But
I mean, the whole joke of I'll smack your bottom. I was like, he wouldn't have said that. At no point would he have said that. He might have said it to Susan, but he was, you know, he'd had a grandfatherly relationship with Susan. It's just, it was just. It's not that it was handled badly, but it was just they took the wrong things. You know, I mean, there was. I'm trying. What's the episode whereby he's got that contraption in the box? Oh God, no, I'm asking. He had a contraption in the box, and he was using science to work out how to make the thing. Oh God. Oh, I can't remember the name of the episode. It's just one we'll have to watch at some point.
No, Ian's right. He didn't no, he didn't.
Yeah. No. Again, he didn't speak like that to Barbara. He didn't speak like that to Susan. Really. I mean, it was, yeah. The way that, and the fact that they had David Bradley to play the Doctor was great. I absolutely loved it, and I absolutely loved what they did with recreating the 10th planet. That was fantastic. The actors that they had to play Ben and Polly were amazing. They did such a good job of it, and I mean the bit I really liked was the bit right at the start where we went 709 episodes ago, and they did nothing to the footage. They didn't try to refilm it, reframe it, or anything like that. It was still this hubcap coming in on wires, landing on this rickety set. They did absolutely nothing to disrespect it whatsoever. It was still in fact, the TARDIS interior looked pretty decent compared to, again, my only problem with it was the fact that they repainted it white instead of keeping it its traditional colours. But it's still, it still popped as a set. The whole takeoff to anywhere, and they go into that time corridor, and to see the first TARDIS flying down a time corridor with modern effects looked spectacular. So I loved all that. It was just how roughly they treated the Hartnell Doctor. They took all the wrong things. They were trying to suggest, oh, the Doctor's moved on now, and is no longer this. The Doctor's evolved and grown and developed, and that's great and that's fine. But don't keep hammering the same joke and saying, oh, it aren't all women made of glass, really? I was like, oh God. I mean, it just didn't sit well with me. But I like the story where they end up going to see Rusty. I wish, instead of it being, because they mentioned going back to a place of the largest bank of knowledge in the universe, in the cosmos, and there were two places I was thinking. It was either going to be the library, or it was going to be Logopolis. And as it was, they just invented a new place, and I would have liked it to have been the library, because then it would have been oh, let's go see River Song. So that's what I would have done. I think if you're going to have something interact with a database, land on the largest library and plug yourself in, and just have one final moment with River, and have. Because Capaldi was leaving, Moffat's leaving, half the crew are leaving, all the new crew are taking over. Say goodbye. You've already done the Husbands of a Song a season earlier. Give everybody their own goodbye and just go bang and get it out of the way. And that's. I mean, again, I would have liked it. It would have been Logopolis as well. That would have been a nice little touch. But I think in terms of it being a database as opposed to. I think I would prefer the library, so that's what I would have gone with. And that really kind of brings Capaldi's run to the end, where he regenerates. A bit of a weird regeneration, though, because he kind of procrastinates. I've never seen the Doctor be able to hold off a regeneration. He went through a beating of massive proportions in the Doctor Falls. Everything blew up, and the entire spaceship's surface exploded around him. He should have regenerated there and then, and he didn't. So the fact that he held off on the regeneration, but I mean, I think that was due to a scheduling thing. I think that was due to the fact that they didn't have a Christmas episode ready for Jodie to go. So yeah, I'm grateful that we had Twice Upon a Time in a way, just so that we had the David Bradley First Doctor back.
Well, I really enjoyed that one myself. I mean, I thought it was a great episode.
Yeah, again, when we take the problems out of it, I like the fact that it didn't have a villain. I like the fact that it was a benevolent story, and it was just a story that was about the Doctor. How do you get the Doctor to want to regenerate?
One of the real problems I had with it was some of the fandom, because there is a couple of forums I look at, and there was a lot of them complaining about David Bradley playing the First Doctor. There's a lot of hashtag Not My Doctor, and on the Facebook group that I no longer follow on Facebook, the official Doctor Who one, because it's full of poison. But it's like, well, who did they expect to play the first Doctor? You want to put the first Doctor in a story? Who else is going to play him? William Hartnell can't bloody do it, can he?
Yeah, exactly. Again, it doesn't come down. David Bradley was. I think David Bradley was on point. You know, but I mean, he was playing the Doctor at the end of his regeneration. You know, he wasn't playing. He even made mention of it because Capaldi said something about like you know, there's something wrong with your face. You know, you started regenerating, and he even said, you know, he even says that. So he's not quite himself. But I mean, the fandom. In terms of if you're going to complain about a Doctor Who episode, then you can complain about anything at all. Make sure what you complain about is the story, because everything else is not the responsibility of the show.
Well,
everything else is the art, the look of something is the art department. The visual effects are the visual effects crew. The way it's photographed is the cinematographer. The way it's directed. All of that relies on the script. You start there, and everything else falls into place around it. And again, what we were saying about the fact that he, at the end of this episode, he regenerates into Jodie Whittaker. It's the same person. She's not the first female Doctor. She's the Doctor that happens to be played by a woman. You know, it's the same character. We've mentioned this before. Like when they redid Battlestar Galactica and Katie Sackhoff was Starbuck. I understand why some of these people get mixed up with Doctor Who now and going, oh, you know, this is not my Doctor, R.I.P. Doctor Who. I totally understand it. I get where they're coming from, because when I saw that Katie Sackhoff was cast as Starbuck, I was exactly as a lot of the fandom of Doctor Who is. Whereby they were going, bollocks to that. You can't do that. That's wrong. Starbuck is a bloke. Starbuck is, and I refused to watch Battlestar Galactica for the first 2 years. I refused to watch the reboot of Battlestar, and somebody said, "Look, I've got the first miniseries, part of the miniseries on DVD. Why don't you give it a look?" I was just like, "No, I really don't want to." I said, like, "Right, I'll come up, I'll bring it up, we'll sit down, we'll watch it, I'll even get you, I'll even buy you grub as well." Like, fine enough, do it. We sat down, I watched the first episode whereby it starts off with the Cylon invasion. And when they first show Starbuck, and she comes on screen, and I'm sitting there like this, and I'm going. And then the next thing I know, she's lighting up a cigar. She got her feet up on the table. She's playing cards, and she's on about fracking everybody on the ship. And I'm like, it's Starbuck. That's Starbuck. It's like, it doesn't matter that it's a woman. That is Starbuck. And then she gets in the cockpit and she starts flying, and she's the best pilot. And she's like, well, I'll shut my mouth. And that sold me on the series. Katie Sackhoff didn't put me off the show. She actually turned me on to it and went, right, I know what they're doing now. And and it's the same thing with Doctor Who. What Jodie does, it took a long time. I'm not going to lie, the storytelling took a long time for me to warm to Jodie, because I felt like she missed the mark along the line. And I certainly didn't feel anything really doctory about her in the next episode that we're going to watch, which is going to be The Woman Who Fell to Earth.
Before we move off of the subject, the problem I had with say the official Facebook page, is there was some badly written episodes on there, and they'd put a trailer up or something, and then in a few days following the episode, someone would put up, "I really enjoyed that episode. The story was absolute garbage," and you'd get a whole ton of mainly younger people, both men and women, saying, "Oh, you're sexist. Oh, you're a misogynist. Oh, you don't like women." And like the poor guy saying, "No, I just didn't like the episode." And there was a lot of that. And in the end, I thought, I don't want this stuff coming up on my news feed anymore. Bye. And I stopped following the page after years of being on that page.
So there are a couple of problems, right? The first problem is that it led to people coining the phrase toxic fandom. And fandom is not toxic. That's total not. They're two incompatible things. You can't be a fan of something and be a fan for negative reasons. You can't. How can I put it? It's like if somebody was to say, "Oh, here's a load of films that you are not going to like. How's it when you go to the cinema and pay money to watch every one of those?" And you go, "Yeah, all right." You wouldn't do it. If you hate something, and you're not going to be, how can I put it? You can't be toxic about something based on fandom. You are either hateful of it, or you're a fan. You're either the fan of it or you hate it. You can't be a fan that hates it. So when it comes to dealing with these things, the toxic fandom, as they coined it, was total nonsense. I mean, I don't like the term because it doesn't make sense. But the other thing is that when you're dealing with people that can't get over the hump of the backlash then against this person being cast in the part, it's very difficult for you to criticize them, because then people think that you're just criticizing for that one reason, and then the backlash on that is just as bad. You've got something. Yeah, it's very difficult these days to watch something and go, "Oh, I like that." You've either got to love it or you've got to hate it, and that's not right. You can't just watch like the episode. Oh God. What's it called? Ghost Monument. Ghost Monument is an episode that I absolutely met. I don't hate it. I don't hate the episode at all. Do I love it? No. I firmly am middle of the road with that episode. I
see, but the difference is, I really rather quite like that episode. I like the whole bit at the end where she said, "Come to daddy, well, mummy," and all that sort of stuff. But the difference is, I respect your opinion. It doesn't matter to me whether you liked it or not.
Yeah,
and that's the difference between people.
My point is that there's a lot of people out there in the fandom whereby if you say, "Oh, I liked the episode," would actually go, "Well, this episode was terrible. Not this bad in the episode. There is bad in the episode. I don't like the fact that the episode has absolutely no death in it. It's the deadliest planet in the cosmos, and yet nobody dies. I mean, why? I understand why nobody dies, and that's because they'd already paid enough money for the extras that they had, and they couldn't afford any more. Because they double banked for 2 episodes. One was Rosa, and the other one was Ghost Monument. Both filmed in South Africa. So they, you're both wrong, Slamsdor. But yeah, I mean, my problem with the episode was the fact that all the challenges in that episode they weren't predetermined. It wasn't like they had a map and went, right, you have to go through here to get to this point, but you're going to have to go through all this stuff, and these are the challenges you're going to have to face along the way, and you're going to have to come up with a clever solution to get around these problems. It was kind of like and now this, and now that. And it felt very much like they were made it up as they went along. But at the same time, it wasn't so bad that I would go, screw this episode. They still had some great moments in it. The moment between Graham and Ryan in that episode was fan-bloody-tastic. Where he's sitting on board the barge and he says, you know, you don't talk about this stuff at all. It's like, well, you talk about it too much. And it's like, bloody lovely moments. But again,
so that's why I think I liked it, because they was kind of well, with the exception of Yaz, obviously, they were filling in the characters a bit. So I liked it from a different kind of point of view.
Well, who you on about? Yaz and the plastic population.
The only way is up.
Oh, good grief. But that's a character we're going to have to talk about next time. Because next week is The Woman Who Fell to Earth. This has been Deep Breath. And Peter Capaldi's run as the Doctor. After we do The Woman Who Fell to Earth, we're free for all in it with Doctor Who. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on what episode we should do after that. My initial thought was Genesis of the Daleks.
Yeah, with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys feel.
Well, Genesis is my favourite episode of Doctor Who. So,
well, I mean, I had an idea that we might do the whole Dalek run. Start with Genesis, because obviously, even though chronologically it's not the first Dalek episode, but technically it is. So I'm thinking that maybe we should do the Dalek episode, but then maybe go back and do sort of, you know, Doctor Who and the Daleks. And then maybe have a Dalek. I don't know, it depends on how you feel. Maybe, but I think we'll start with, after The Woman Who Fell to Earth, I think we'll start with Genesis of the Daleks. So, the LP version. The only version I have of Genesis of the Daleks is the DVD version.
I think he means there's 6 episodes, isn't it?
Oh, wow. Dude, we'll be sitting here for 3 hours and 20 minutes.
The question is, next week is Easter Sunday, which isn't a problem for me, but it means I don't have to get up for work on the Monday if you want to do something extra next week. It depends whether you've got Bank Holiday Monday off or not. I
have got Monday off, yeah. I hadn't actually thought about it because it's Easter. Oh, by the way, just so that you, I totally blanked on this. Today we done Deep Breath, which was the Peter Capaldi Doctor Who story. Today happens to be Peter Capaldi's birthday. He's 61.
Oh, happy birthday, Doctor Who.
Yeah. So that was a well timed, wasn't it?
It was very much so.
So we done Deep Breath on Peter Capaldi's birthday. So I'm happy about that. That landed right on the right day. So final thoughts on Deep Breath and on Peter Capaldi's run. Missed opportunity. Would have much preferred a much darker Doctor. They nailed it with the last season. They did a very good job with the last season. Particularly the last few episodes from whereby it was more of a honouring the older Doctors, which Peter wanted to emulate. Where, you know, we had the Ice Warriors, and we had a more of a historical episode, and then we get the Mondasian Cybermen, and then of course the Master. It was that last 4 episodes before Twice Upon a Time was just honouring every classic episode of Doctor Who under the sun. And then next week we are on to Jodie Whittaker taking over in The Woman Who Fell to Earth. We still early days with this Doctor, and we don't know what's happening with this Doctor, and that's a fact. The rumours are that she's only sticking around for 2 seasons. I think that's a mistake if that's true, but we don't know that again. Rumours. Let's not listen to rumours. I'm going to call it quits there. I hope you've enjoyed this stream. Thank you, Ian, for joining. I know you couldn't join us earlier. I did, if you go back and watch the stream, I did share all your artwork that you had sent me. So
and very, very, very good artwork it was too. Very well done, mate.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So thanks for that. Hope you enjoy us next week. It is going to be Easter Sunday next week where we will be doing The Woman Who Fell to Earth. So till then, I shall see you at 8 o'clock next Sunday. Take care.
Indeed. Good night.